sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah. Light is gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah. could swear it's been 700 degrees in here since you came in. I could swear that this room has been running out of air, and now it's starting to spin. You make me feel kinda bad, kinda good, kinda everything, yet it doesn't feel like it should. You make me feel kinda wrong, kinda right, kinda anything, and I would change it if I could. Swear that I'm fainting, I think I'm losing my sight, I swear I'm hitting the floor. I could swear that my stomach just sunk a meter, I'll be dead if I take any more. You make me feel kinda bad, kinda good, kinda everything, yet it doesn't feel like it should. You make me feel kinda wrong, kinda right, kinda anything, and I would change it if I could.
I feel so alive. I've never felt this way before. It must be you and I. It's got me thinking about us more. It's these bright lights that put me in a daze, and I can't stop but think about the way that you move around, up and down on that stage. It's your future vibes. Bright lights, they put me in a trance, so I feel like I can do it all. It's a good life that I really want. It's those future vibes. I got the future vibes.
through a ghost town, alone and stranded. Why leave me hoping and guessing for the answers? No place stays forbidden. And you forever I'll follow. You be my holy ground. You forever I'll follow. In immortality, I can see you and me. In immortality, I can see you and me. My mind faded, my body wasted. What we created must have been fated. Just promise me immortality. I can see you and me. In immortality, I can see
Blind devotion, empty notion. Like a roaring ocean, slow in motion. Lay down your troubled mind. We are only blind and will kindly cease to be as we enter
seat you by the fire. Listen, listen. There's something I must confide. I know I said that it'd be fine. I know I made it look like it'd be alright. But I think I learned my lesson, and I'm not gonna let you out of my sight. You can call me killer, 'cause I'll bring you to the light. And it might taste bitter.
Live Poker. Happy to see you all here. We are very excited to be bringing you some 5-5 no limit hold'em cash game tonight. It's me, Kasey Mills, aka Poker Mama, in the booth with Mr. Master C, Chris Glasgow.
That's right.
And we have a really great fun lineup tonight. As you saw scrolling through, I'm excited for this game. What are you thinking, Chris?
Yeah, it's a great lineup. You know, we got a nice mix of some action players. Some players are going to sit back a little bit. Somebody told me that he guaranteed 2 bluffs today.
Really?
So, yes. And he did say he was going to wave at the camera when he was doing it, but I don't know if he's really going to do that. But if he does, it's going to be great.
We may have just given away a tell.
Right,
that's
right.
the case, because people can actually watch the
at least
stream
after the first
as
time he
it's
waves.
going on. Yeah. So very nice, interesting. And booth is a little bit different, as you guys can see. We're streaming from a little bit of a different angle. Going to give this a try. I think I like it. What do you think?
You know, it depends how much people like the back of my head. Because I feel like I'm going to be, you know, talking to you when, you know, hands come up.
Right.
But it might be my best feature, so it's okay.
I do see you guys here in the chat. I see Monster Hands. What's up? I also see Ghost of M. Sup, sup, sup. Rick and Barstow. Hello. Always lovely to see you.
What's going on, Eric?
Eric. DRD. Hello, hello. And Mr. Rocky Road.
And we can't forget Jenna.
Of course.
Who
Our
is-
hostess with the mostest.
Yes, and Justin 2.0 is what we call her.
Very nice.
All right, well, should we quickly run through the lineup, or are we just getting ready to get in the hand?
I think it was running through the lineup as we started, but we can talk about it a little bit more after we get through this hand here.
Perfect.
And yeah, so we've got quite a few people to the flop here. It looks like it's 7-way in, and kings for 6LG for LG. Also king 9 for 3 Ariana as well. And Harlan's got a 5 here. Jacks for Porter. So a lot of people got a little piece. Let's see. LG bets out 60. And strangely enough, Ariana with the same hand went ahead and folded it. Now AC, who comes along with the ace of spades, he actually completes for the, he's got the flush draw now, the ace high flush draw. Let's see what LG decides to do.
Definitely one of the best cards in the deck for him, other than just hitting a, you know, an ace. So I expect LG to continue on this card, and AC to either, you know, depending on what his plan was, to either bluff raise or just call.
Yeah, we actually see LG downsizing his bet here. And so he bet out 60 on the flop, and now he goes down to 50, giving AC a greater chance to hit his flush. I like the idea of making those draws chase more. AC had a plan, though. He wasn't going to wait for his draw to come. He had a plan to go ahead and try and steal this away on the turn, especially with that weak bet sizing from LG. I think it kind of screams of I like my hand, but I don't love my hand.
Right.
And AC is going to try to just take it away right now, or set up his story to continue to take it away on the river, whether he completes or not.
Right, and you see a lot of people do this. You know, they get in the spot where they don't like their hand, but they don't want to check. They're afraid of being bluffed, so they feel if they kind of bet small or the same bet as on the flop, that it will, you know, kind of protect them from, you know, getting bluffed out of the hand. So you can start really making life difficult for people when you see that out on the tables.
And what happened here? I looked away for just a second. He just
folded.
laid it down. So great way to take advantage there of AC, checking out that bet sizing, reading correctly that he didn't feel super strong about his hand and taking advantage.
Right.
I like to see that. A good start for AC. I like it. And just to talk a little bit here about a couple of our players, we do have Harlan in seat 1. Harlan likes to play a lot of hands. He likes to mix it up and go for value in a lot of spots where other players cannot go for value because he has an image.
Yep. And then seat 2, we got Brian. Everybody knows Brian likes to play a lot of hands. Another player that can go for some pretty thin value because he always has a pretty open range, you know, like deep into hands.
Yeah, definitely. And then in seat 3 is Ariana, which normally we see that as Dave. He's a regular for our cash games. But there's actually an interesting story why Ariana is his name of choice tonight.
So Ariana is his granddaughter's name, and she just recently had open heart surgery. She's 4.5 months old. She's doing great, and her family's out here visiting. So he really wanted just to say, you know, hi to his granddaughter, bring attention, have us all give her some, you know, some positive thoughts just to help out with the recovery process. And, you know, a big shout out to all the family that's going to need to kind of surround and help her out.
Ariana, we are thinking of you and praying for a quick and speedy recovery.
All right, in seat 4, we have AC. We've seen him play on multiple streams, and already we know he's capable of creating a plan for his hand, following through, has, you know, pretty good instincts as well. So he's another person that's going to, you know,
one to watch.
Mix it up.
And Mr. Porter in seat 5. Let's see. Yeah, I've played with Porter. He's also a regular. He grinds a lot of cash. He knows what he's doing, and I look to see him play pretty well tonight. He will make calls if he feels like you're weak, but he's not like overly loose or overly nitty. So I think he's nice right there in the middle as well.
And we got LG in seat 6, who we just saw. Definitely willing to play some hands. We have McMondo in seat 7, looking for him to play some hands. Triple D, we all know Triple D, and Corey in seat 9.
What's up, Cody Moose? Good to see you in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. We've got another hand here. LG's got pocket 7s, but with a 0% chance, not looking very great for him. Ace 9 for Triple D. And let's see what else we got here. Pocket 6s. Not sure why it shows him at 0%. It must be because other people, because Porter has one of his 7s and somebody else probably folded a 7, which is why you see him at 0% there, because his outs are already gone. Let's see what else here. Harlan with the Ace 5 against DD's Ace 9. And Deuce 3 for Mondo. So Harlan's going to raise to 105 here. Looks like Mr. Mondo was our original raiser, and Harlan 3-bet it. Fold, fold, and Harlan's going to take it down. Very nice.
And we definitely have some health food coming in here to the booth.
So you guys, when you come to Stones, we have amazing food here. Tonight we are partaking in little finger foods. We got the Brussels sprouts, so we've got like a balsamic drizzle with walnuts and Parmesan cheese, and the amazing truffle fries.
Yes, they're amazing. And, you know, it's one of these things, we always talk about how good the food is, but I don't think we ever show how good the food is.
Tonight's the night. With the new camera angle, you guys can actually see the deliciousness that is Stones.
Yes. Those are some good looking fries, and let me tell you, those fried Brussels sprouts are amazing.
The Brussels sprouts are legit.
Yeah. And we were both hungry, and we didn't want to pass out in the middle of the stream, so we needed to get some nourishment.
It is a 3-hour stream, so.
Oh, so it's Mr. Mondo, not Mick Mondo.
Yes, it is.
And I think we had the correction, and I still read it wrong. My apologies. All right. This is your tea.
Dondo, I see you in the chat. Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, Janai, no. They're my favorite too. The Brussels sprouts are insanely good. And you can always order them steamed as well if you really want to be extra super health conscious. Ghost of M says, wow, you guys are killing me with the food display.
It is good.
Come on down. Use your Stones Live player card on your table, and you earn cash for every hour you play. Double points for cash after, I believe it's midnight. And then you also get discounted food just for being in the poker room and being a poker player.
That's true.
All kinds of perks here at Stones. And add avocado to the Brussels sprouts? I've never tried that.
Yeah, actually, that seems like it'd go really good. You know, 'cause you get the creaminess of the avocado, plus a little bit of the tang of the balsamic.
The crunchiness of the walnuts. Now, Triple D, he has, I think, a very tight image. A lot of players think that he's super tight, but I have seen him take advantage of that and really go at it with a couple of bluffs in some interesting spots, because people often think he's usually only playing with like super big pocket pairs, but then we'll see him like lay it down, just like go crazy with something totally off, which I love to see from him occasionally. Yeah,
and I think, you know, most tight players, they kind of, at some point, they start to realize that they can bluff, but then I see them not bluffing in the best spots. You know, because if you're going to use your image to bluff, then your bluff kind of needs to go along with your image. You know, like, you know, kind of the hands that you would play. You can't just bluff like a 7-7-5 board all of a sudden. Like, you just don't have much 7-5 there. The other thing is, you know, they'll run their one bluff in the night in a $12 pot.
Right.
Like, use that pot or use that bluff, you know, in a nice,
in a good spot,
very good big pot.
So people coming to us from the East Coast, DRD saying he's from New Jersey, and that's why he hasn't made it out here yet. And Ghost of M says he's also on the East Coast. Well, we love to see you guys in the chat, at least if you can't make it down. And if you ever do decide to come to the West Coast, please stop in here and see us. AC's got pocket 10s here. He's choosing a raise size of 25 from under the gun. Nice little open.
Brian's going to call with the suited king.
Yeah, Harlan in the small blind. Starting in for $5. He decides to go ahead and take a flop here. A lot with as many other players in the pot as there are. Yeah, Harlan calling also brings Brian along. We already had Ariana in there with the suited connector, the one gapper, and Corey with the ace X, ace 8 of spades, also in there. But 10's still best, even 5-way after the flop. Can't hate that. That board really great for 10s, with it all coming low cards.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna probably see some good action here on this flop. I would little surprised that Harlan didn't raise there. Yeah, I think with having a pair and flush draw and it's Harlan, you know, he usually likes to
put the pressure on.
Yeah, pump up those spots.
Harlan does not hit any of his mini outs. The turn went check, check. Now we're here on the river. Harlan is first to act, so if he's going to try to steal this pot away, this is his only chance to do so. But with the run out that we got, I cannot imagine AC folding to almost any call there, although Harlan is a rangeless beast, and so this board definitely could hit his range. Right. I think it would be very hard for AC to get away from pocket 10s on this type of board. We didn't complete a flush. Very unlikely. There's only a couple of options of the 5-6 out there or the ace 5 out there.
Yeah,
so.
and Harlan did check. AC bet the 100, and so right now Harlan's just trying to figure out if his 2 pair is good. But yeah, like you said, it's just not really a good bluff spot for him.
Right. But Harlan doesn't like to fold too easily here. He's got a pair, 2 pair, 3s and deuces.
Yeah, especially early in the sessions. He likes to, you know, kind of see what people are doing, and then he starts really adjusting his game. Yep.
Uh-huh. And I think because AC was our pre-flop raiser, Harlan is thinking that he could likely just have big cards there as well.
Right.
Especially when it goes check on the turn.
Yep, and you know, AC is the type of player he's going to have just some high overcards there a decent percentage of the time.
We just want to remind you guys also to go ahead and hit follow on Twitch and YouTube, and you'll get notified whenever we go live. We do stream live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Fridays are our bigger games, but we also do stream our tournaments as well. And this is our first night back to our regular content as we've been doing our Stone Spring Classic. What an exciting, amazing event it was.
Right. Like,
so successful.
Every single night was just, you know, you just tune in, watch hours of great content with some super high level people both playing and commentating.
Yeah, we had some huge names in the house, but we want to give a huge thank you to all of our players who came out and supported Stones at our tournaments as well. We did end up crushing our guarantee, and that's thanks to all the players. We really appreciate and love you guys, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And as well as to all our guest commentators, Mr. Kevin Martin, Mr. Andrew Nemi, all the vloggers that were in the game as well. Jamin, Brad Owen, let's see, there's a couple more I'm missing. I'm going to think of them in just a second. And then the one who crushed our whole game. He like killed our cash game. His name will come to me in a second. And then as well as Lex Veldehus and Jason Somerville were also big in the game as well.
Right. So yeah, it was an amazing week.
Yeah, huge, huge, huge.
One thing that I love about this lineup, and especially with, you know, some of the people on this table, is right now, you know, we have big stack of about 2,000. By 10 o'clock, big stack's going to be probably 5,000,
right,
at least. Like
it was
clockwork.
Johnny Vibes was who I was trying to think of.
Yes.
I didn't actually even look him up on my phone. I was going to, but his name popped to me before I could ever. Johnny Vibes, he won like 6.5K in our cash, in our bloggers cash game. He just basically won all the money on the table. So really awesome. And then it's not like Boogie or do you remember that?
No,
somebody in the chat throw it in there. Boski, that's it. Boski was our other vlogger. I'm gonna start checking out some of these awesome vlogs as well. I think Jamin's one that I really want to check out. I may start vlogging myself. I actually just got myself a nice little laptop to start my female poker vlog for the Sacramento area. So maybe something to come in the future.
It'll be good to watch. All right, so we have Corey raising the 9-8 suited and hijack to 30. And I think AC decides just to call with the ace-queen offsuit. And I think AC raises a decent amount of the time. I just think maybe he doesn't know Corey too well, doesn't know if he's tight, so he kind of wants to take it a little bit high variance line, just, you know, to kind of see what this guy's all about. Got to flop ace deuce 4. So LG with the pair and gut shot. We have AC top pair, second kicker. Tens are not loving that flop very much.
Right, with as many people as went to the flop.
Right.
He definitely can't love it there. But at least it is a rainbow. So he's probably gonna, no, he goes ahead and folds with a raise and a call. He knows he's likely up against at least one ace.
Right.
Check on the turn, doesn't change much. LG's gonna need some help here.
Yeah, I think if you got the ace 5 here, I think I might be willing just to check it back in position.
Right.
You know, because you start thinking about, like, how many streets do I want with this hand, and it's probably not 3 streets.
Right. Yeah, so he needed to hit a 5 or a 3 in order to be good there. None of those things happen. Instead, AC gets there with now top 2 pair. It's his option. definitely think he's going to go for the value. The pot has $435 in it. I think he needs to go for maybe around a half pot size bet in order to get a call here. And
Looks like he owes about 200.
Looks like that's just about exactly what he does. Is about a half size pot size bet, 225. I think that's about the most he can get called. It may even be a little bit much, but I think that's his best sizing for getting a call. With LG cutting out chips, looks like maybe correct there.
So if you're LG, what hands are you putting AC on? What are you beating?
When he AC calls the flop, he calls the turn. You know, you're definitely up against most likely an ace or a 2-pair type of hand. There was no flush draws to be had on the flop when he calls, and no flush draws to complete on the river for him to complete with.
And you have a 5 to block, you know, the possible straights that he's going for.
Right, exactly. So he's likely beat there. I think it's only because AC chose a sizing that for a player who just really wants to see it,
right,
is going to will be willing to call a half size pot bet because there was already so much of his money invested. And obviously not a great call, and we know that in poker, just about as much as making great calls, it's almost more important to be willing to make big laydowns.
Yes.
And so, but definitely I liked the sizing that AC chose there. I think it was about his max sizing.
I agree with that. Tank, what's going on, man? Welcome to the chat. We got Oxton, who actually was just followed and subscribed today for the first time. So that was awesome. It's basically Austin Galligan, but AGU.
Austin, thank you. Appreciate that. And Janae, hey, I see you. Super Moves, hello, hello.
What, brah? What up?
What, brah? We see you. You Bleed Green. I love that name. Yep, I see you. Augustin Galindo, 80.
Oh, okay,
and
Augustin.
Tank, I see you in there as well. Another pot here with Porter hitting top 2 pair. Pocket 6s for Triple D. And a little King 10 for AC. Porter is really the only one that super connects with this flop. That's not going to stop Triple D. When it goes check, check, he thinks, well, maybe my 6s are good here. He goes ahead and bets out 75 into a $175 pot. So just under a pot size bet. And definitely going to be getting called by Porter, who correctly checked that flop. Not wanting somebody to have a chance to catch up, because on a rainbow board like that with no straights out there, you're crushing it. There's no point in actually betting out on that flop. You're only going to get everyone to fold it.
Super dry board.
Yeah, by checking. Just
let people bluff or value bet worse hands.
Right. He got Triple D to value bet his 6s because of the good check there. So again, Porter, an experienced player, plays it correctly. He bets out 100 here on the river, and Triple D makes a good fold.
Yeah, but you gotta bet that river if you're Porter, especially once it goes check on the turn. You think nothing is really gonna bet at that point, because if Triple D turned to flush draw, he's probably gonna continue for the second barrel on the turn.
So our winners of the Spring Classic, I'm gonna pull it up right here so I don't mess up their names, but it went to an ICM chop, and we had a female, which I thought was amazing as well. Here it is. To Francis and Melly Bear Gorer. I'm not sure exactly. Let's see here. So Francis and Melly, who chopped for an ICM chop. They both brought home a collective $37,000 for Francis and $31,000, almost $32,000 for Melly Bear. Congratulations to both of them. Excellent work. And I absolutely just love to see a female crusher taking down a big, huge tournament like that.
I mean, it just brings more women into poker, and we need players, period.
Absolutely. When you see, when you look at how few women, we may have a bomb pot here. It's possibly a bomb pot. There were so many players in. Pot's already got $450 in it.
Yeah.
58% for Triple D with top pair, top kicker. Nobody with the diamond draw. Mr. Mondo has, the best diamond with a queen. King 10 for Harlan, who'll probably definitely stick around. He calls the 125, bet out by Porter. No, actually, I'm sorry, that was bet out by Triple D. And now Triple D gets even better here with top 2, but this definitely could scare Harlan a little bit.
Yeah, actually,
he likes to fire though, so I like the check by Triple D.
Yep. And this is an example of knowing your player. You know that someone like Harlan is just, he's kind of like a bull at weakness. You know, you just go ahead and check to him, and he's going to carry a lot of this pot for you.
So because of the double flush draw out there, Triple D decides to go ahead and put in the re-raise right here. And instantly Harlan knows he's beat and can't continue.
Right.
What sizing did he choose for his
It looked like 600.
He raised to 575. Yeah. I like the way that hand was played.
Yeah, so do I. Kevin Smith says, "Hey Kasey and Chris, new subscriber. Love your commentary and live feed. Thank you very much. Thanks for the the compliments and also the subscribe."
Which side was that on?
It's on YouTube side. And then thank you very much, Ford, for saying the beautiful Kasey Mills and Chris Dreamy Eyes Glasgow.
What's up, Mr. Garrett? And Kevin Smith, thank you for the follow.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. Yeah, I heard that that game did go on for a super long time. They're talking about how long the final table went on.
Mm-hmm.
Tank said, I feel like I'm 900 miles away from the camera, that I'm pretty much in the Pacific.
Yeah. But he would walk 5,000 miles and then he would walk 5,000 more just to fall down at your door or something like that.
Pocket queens for Porter here. Did the 10s earlier. Brian's got the ace jack here. He 3-bets to 185 with the queens here after it was raised by Harlan with the 6-4 from early position. Harlan can't complete. Brian, however, giving it some thought and does go for it with the ace jack of hearts. Nothing for Brian working on this board. 1 overcard to the queens. Not too bad here with it on a paired board. So pot's 450. Looks like he went for about 235, something around there. Let's see, 265. Brian folds. What do you think about a check back on that flop there with the king? Or do you like him to go ahead and lead there with the pocket queens and not have his opponent get another option to hit on the turn?
Right. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. Being that the king's already out, it's not like it's all low boards and now you're still worried about a king or an ace hitting. If another king hits, then if they have a king, they still have the king. So I think you're a little bit less vulnerable on that flop to where you can probably check. But I was thinking if I do bet in that spot, I might size down a little just because it's going to be a little bit hard for them to have much.
Right.
And they're not going to...
Unless they have you beat.
Right.
Very hard for them to complete there with much of anything.
If I'm betting...
a lower pocket pair.
Right. And if I'm betting, I'm trying to get, value 10s, jacks, something like that. So, you might need to kind of go really easy on them. So that's what I was saying.
They're going to put you on a king likely. Right. You likely are betting out there, and he was the pre-flop raiser there, so he could see that with a lot of his range. But I don't mind the check there on the flop because again, you're getting called with a king, somebody with a king, obviously with a 9, possibly some of those lower paired hands that you could get some value out of, but then you don't really know what you're facing on the turn there. So exerting maybe a little bit of pot control, but as well as giving your opponent another chance here, you could likely get some value actually on the turn of the river there.
And that's kind of what, like a lot of times we'll call a way ahead, way behind spot. Because if they have a king, you're way behind. You only have basically 2 outs. if they don't have a king and they really have anything else, you're way ahead. You know, they barely have any outs. You got pretty much everything crushed.
Right.
So it's kind of not, you don't need to bet in those spots.
Right. I agree here. Some very nice words in the chat. I appreciate Mr. Kevin Smith and Mr. Cody Moose. Very flattered. Thank you.
Brent's in the chat. What's going on, man?
Brent Harrington. Hello, hello.
I keep telling him
Jesse, hey.
he needs to get an Instagram account just for his mustache. It's going to be, you know, the
Everybody
Brent mustache.
loves the stash.
Yes, the adventures of Brent Stash.
The stash is already famous in Sacramento. The rest of the world.
They need to get on board.
Yeah, they need to be in on the stash.
Like, here's a stash in front of a waterfall.
Pocket deuces versus pocket nines here. 10-7 for Brian. He now turns a gutter. He could hit a 9 to hit his straight, but we know that Harlan has 2 of those 9s. Less likely to come here. Board pairs on the river, so 9s are still best. It checks through because of the ace and the jack. Harlan takes it down though here. There is a hotel very near here. We don't actually have a hotel on site, but what is it called? Is it called Crown?
Yeah, the Crown Plaza. Yeah.
Crown Plaza is very close, very nice rooms, and very reasonably priced. Very close. There's also some beautiful Airbnbs that I've considered renting out because very moderately priced and very close to here as well. During these long events, sometimes it would be nice to have one of those nice Airbnbs. But yeah.
Yeah, pretty much every time I've stayed out here, I usually stay in an Airbnb. I have a couple different places that I'll stay. You know, you kind of get to know the owners, you know, the setup, you know, that it's nice. You know, because sometimes your first time out, it's a little sketch. You know, you hope they're not just kind of some creepers. You hope that they don't have a cat that's going to harass you all night, you know. So once you kind of have your couple go-to spots, you go to them.
Battle of the Ace Jack. It gets checked flop, checked turn, checked river, checked all the way down. There were no completed flushes here. Yes, King Queen. They both put the King Queen on the other person's range. But when it gets checked on the turn here and the board pairs on the river, I would have liked to see maybe a little bit of a bet there, at least on the river. And because first one to show a little bit of aggression there was going to win that pot.
I always wonder in those spots too. It's, you know, like I do have some showdown value, so it's that balance between, you know, just kind of do I have enough what I feel showdown value to just kind of check it back, or do I need to kind of turn it into a bluff? You know?
That's a really good point too, because there wasn't very much in the pot because they did check all the way through, and so again, you're likely only getting called by a hand that beats you. So if you're going to start the aggression, maybe on the turn.
So we got another pretty big hand shaping up. We have Ariana, who opens with queens, gets 3-bet by triple D to 100. And I think Ariana is just in a mood today where he might just hit the dial it up button and raise.
Might hit the F it button.
I do like that button.
Triple D has a large stack behind him. Now, everyone knows his image, but I think Ariana plays on enough of these streams, aka Dave, that he also knows that Triple D doesn't always have it in every spot, and Queens is likely good here. There's really only 2 hands that currently beat him. He decides to just call. Still best. Mr. Mondo came along with the ace-4. Ballsy.
So Triple D does decide to check back, which is good check back. It's not really the best board for him. And I was expecting that Ariana was going to be going for the check raise anyways on that flop.
Right.
now that we get to the turn and Triple D bombs pretty big, I think Ariana's just kind of in check call mode.
Yeah, he's got a call here. It's a paired board, a double flush draw. Actually, I mean, I would put in a raise, likely. I think a raise is probably his best option, actually, here. Make any draws, be punished. You have queens here. It's a paired board. You're very likely still best. There's only a couple of hands, sets of hands out there that are actually going to be beating you at this point. So I'd really like to see him go for a raise here. He does make the call because it is a little bit scary with Triple D. If he did have possibly a 10, or even now he's thinking maybe he had one of the hands he's probably putting him on could have been pocket jacks as well. Pocket 9s, 10 something, or pocket jacks. And now with the jack coming on the river, he says, I'm not beating a 10, I'm not beating jacks, I'm not beating kings or aces. I beat ace king, ace queen type of hand like Triple D does have. Now Triple D is going to continue 500 into a pot of, was it 1.4K before, or is it 1.4K now? We'll know in just a second here. And I really think that Ariana just has to muster up and make this call. There's no, he's already put out 300 on the turn, completed on.
And it's difficult that, because you have the queens,
don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Make the call.
He feels that it blocks a lot of the hands that, that Triple D would be 3-betting with. He's going to be ace king, ace queen, king
ace
queen.
jack.
Yeah.
No! The pain. And this is where Triple D's image really pays off for him, because a lot of people see him. He makes these same kinds of plays with kings and aces, and I've seen him take advantage of it on more than one occasion. So.
Yeah, I think had Triple D bet the flop, I think Ariana check raises hands over at that point. So the only thing that Ariana could have done is once Triple D checks back that flop is just go ahead and lead the turn. By just kind of
gave up all control over the flop.
Right.
It made it harder for him to know where he was at. Yeah, because a lot of the big type hands would likely check back that flop as well. So I think that is as far as on Triple D's side.
So BMO, Dave's going by Ariana tonight. His granddaughter had open heart surgery, so he's kind of giving her some, good thoughts from everybody, and all of us are wishing her on speedy recovery.
So somebody in the Mr. Moose wanted to know what, besides aces and ace king, what are our favorite starting hands?
I don't know.
I would say for me, the next favorite would be pocket kings. Yeah. I'm definitely wanting someone who loves hands that have the most expected positive outcome, which are going to be your top 5 hands in poker: aces, ace king, kings, queens. Those type of hands are definitely my favorite. But I also really like a jack 10 suited. You can really connect with both sides of the board. You can hit straights on the top and the bottom. You can hit your flush. You can also hit your cards. So that's one of my favorite hands.
Yeah, I definitely like suited connecting cards. I really like pocket 10s for kind of a dumb reason. But, I mean, it's kind of also genius. So if I can over limp with pocket 10s, I love it. Because you're very rarely going to get oversetted if it's just kind of a limp pot, but you're going to overset people quite often when you have sets, because most people are going to raise jacks plus. Not too many people are even raise 10s. Not too many people are going to raise 8s, 7s. They're all going to limp with those. So if you could get those spots where you have, like the whole table limping along, like a lot of people will just basically take 10s right there and try to take the pot down. And I like those opportunities to see if I can't, overset somebody, and then I'll just get stacks in. Hey, we're just speaking of kings.
I think I like your thought there. It's actually not something I had currently thought through as well. And as well as there's going to be several boards that are going to come below. A lot of different boards that are going to come that are just going to be lower than you. So. I hate college says Queen Queen is the best bluff catcher in that spot. I agree.
Yeah, it's hard for him to have a better bluff catcher.
Yeah, you got to think that if you're calling the 300 on the turn here, you're likely going to be facing a river bet. And so in order to make that call on the turn, you really need to be preparing yourself to make a call on the river, I think.
Mm-hmm. So I think our graphics are a little messed up. I don't believe Corey went all in with Queen 9.
Who knows?
Hey, some people do crazy
Maybe
things.
he did, but I don't see all of his chips. I don't see an all-in button in front of him. So it may just take a second. Purple? Maybe? Looks like maybe he did. Ace King for Brian. Brian may make the call here.
Nope, so you just called the 30 and Brian raised Ace King. And everything's back to normal.
Okay. Life can return to normal. Duck Papa is wondering when the first vlog is going up. I wouldn't look for it anytime in the immediate future. I'm brand new to vlogging, so my first step of also Mr. Nemi was showing me what kind of camera he has. I think I'm going to start off with just my iPhone 10, but I'm going to have to be getting a lot of hours of grinding in with filming my hands, and then there's a lot of editing that will go into it as well. I'm going to be shooting over a lot of questions probably to Mr. Nemi as I get that started, and I also have some fun, interesting ideas as to how I'm going to make that vlog very different and my own compared to some of the stuff that's out there. Everybody likes to do something little fun that's not exactly associated with poker, and I have a very interesting idea of what I want to do for mine as well.
Nice.
So I wouldn't expect to see it anytime soon, but I will definitely keep you guys updated when that does happen. I definitely want to put out something quality, and it's my very first one, so it's probably going to take me longer than normal.
Nice. Yeah, I always thought it'd be kind of cool to do a like a podcast with, you know, just different people, and it could be, you know, either friends or poker people, but do it in like kind of like a bar setting where you just, you know, have some drinks and chat, like, you know, and just kind of let it flow.
Yeah. And what's up, Lord Chinchilla? Also, Mr. Smith, we do have Twitter, and usually scrolling on the table is our handles, but I don't see it tonight, so I will tell you that I am Poker Mama. That's MOMMAA, and you are?
I'm at Mastasy 707.
So I'm at Poker Mama, MOMMAA, and at Mastasy 7. That's also where I can be found on Insta as well. And my Insta is set to private, but I will accept you if you request.
Same here. Alphamed, what's going on? Alpha,
That's
where
a really
are you
cute idea,
at
Doug.
from? Okay, nice.
And there they have put it up in the chat, so you guys can follow us.
And Triple D is leading the way in the chip count.
Very nice, with a very well-timed, he made a well-timed move there. I loved it. It just really shows the power of a 3-bet and how, in a lot of these lower stakes games, because people oftentimes are maybe playing with money that they're thinking of their chips as money, or maybe they don't have a big enough bankroll to be playing at the level they're playing at. players are not 3-betting near enough
Right.
to actually be really profitable in a lot of these games in different spots. And I think that hand with Triple D shows the power of a 3-bet there,
Right.
because you see with a 3-bet and then a continuation on the turn in the river, you can get some really big hands
Right.
to lay down,
Really
because
big
there
hands.
was no overpair to that board there. And Dave is an excellent player. He plays
Right.
a lot of poker, but it really shows you, again, the power of the 3-bet. So
Right. Yeah.
put it in your arsenal, do it a lot more.
And I went through a period where I pretty much only 3-bet. If I was playing a hand, I was 3-betting just because I kind of really wanted to play with the strategy, see how people reacted to it, and like kind of what that line was. And lately, I've really scaled it back just because I've found a lot of people are just going to give me more money in the long run over the streets. But it's such a interesting dynamic when you do 3-bet that you kind of need to really give yourself a lot of experience in 3-betting just so you can kind of be comfortable with how the game plays, because it really does change the dynamics of the hand when you do 3-bet.
Right. So, Cody Moose, we'll see you soon. And what's up, Oliver? Carlin, I see you as well. Alpha Med, hi, hi. I was also going to say, so you really want to be picking, so table selection is so important, or sizing up your opponents. If your opponents are really playing passively and there's a lot of limped pots, like 5 people limping into a pot, and you are in the small blind or the big blind per se, you can pick almost any 2 cards and be 3-betting a certain percentage of the time, and that's going to be a positive EV, which means expected value is what, when you hear people say plus EV, they're talking about expected value. And what that means is you can expect to be profitable by making that move a certain percentage of the time. You may not want to do it all the time because players will, but you can do it a lot more than you would think. Let the table get annoyed and start battling back at you. That's fine. That's what you want. So you can do it to the point where they stop giving you credit and they start battling you back. Totally fine. But yeah, if you're seeing a lot of passive play, especially at these smaller stakes games, you want to be 3-betting especially out of your big blind there whenever it's like limped 4 or 5 ways. You don't have to have a super strong hand. If you feel more comfortable, you don't have to do it with like a 9 deuce type of hand, but you can do it with hands that aren't that strong.
Right. And those are some great points. We got a pretty good little hand shaping up right now. Brian flopped the straight, check around, and the turn is a queen, which hits Harlan, giving him the top pair. So Harlan bets out 100, and Brian is going to raise. And the nice thing about this is, if you're in Harlan's seat, you're asking yourself, well, one, would Brian bet a flush draw on the flop? Probably. Would Brian raise a queen, high flush draw? So now he has, the queen with the flush draw. I think he'd probably raise that as well. So you kind of start thinking like, okay, well, what does he have? He probably doesn't have the flush draw. So his kind of best hand he could have is a queen X type of hand that he's thinking, because he would think that the straight would also bet on the flop. So I think Harlan's actually going to probably check call here, kind of for those reasons, thinking Brian does not have the flush draw, thinks he would bet the straight, and it's just kind of a battle of kickers right now.
Yeah, now the flush card comes on the river here. I think it can really be argued both ways, because I think, it can look like a set here when he re-raises for such a small amount as well. So he gets Harlan to fold there on the river, whereas I feel like if the argument, because I totally like your argument for the bet, the opposite end is if he checks there, Harlan is very likely, it did come a club, but most non-club hands, and possibly even the club hand, Harlan is again going to lead out on the river there. But it worked out I think it worked out either way, because
Right.
the club comes and you can't re-raise him on the river there and expect to get called unless you're beat. So that's another good reason for him to have gone ahead and made the re-raise on the turn there. So yeah, but I can find value in both sides of the field there. So I didn't think he had too much of a bad play to be made. But looks like he probably got the most value considering it did come a club on the river. So if he checks back turn, Harlan has to leave all of his flush draws in his range. I mean, if he just calls turn. Yeah, it is a great. Stephen Young saying it's a good lineup tonight. Yeah, we've got a great lineup. Some really great players, as well as some action players who like to play a lot of different hands and mix it up. Harlan with the pocket eights here. He hits a set on the turn. 69 for AC, who makes the fold with not much anything.
And we'll have to look at the stacks to see if anybody's added on. I would expect, people like Harlan and AC to keep adding on as the night goes forward. So to have a $1,000 gap between the big stack and the second stack seems unlikely for this table.
Yeah. So I'm getting called out in the chat for calling it a 3-bet whenever it's a limped pot. I do understand the rules of poker that there has to be an initial bet in order for it to be a 3-bet. So thank you for the call out there. But my main reasoning is even if there is an opening raise, let's say someone raises a 25 and you get like 4 callers behind, that's a great spot to actually 3-bet in.
Right.
So when you have someone open for 20-25, go ahead and 3-bet out of your big blind with a lot of your range. And again, if it's just limped around, then you can go ahead and make that initial raise. Excuse me for my misspeaking of 3-betting.
We are live, and misclicks of the tongue happen
all the time. You guys should have heard what I said, the funniest story of what I said when I was in the booth with Mr. Nemi. But yes, sometimes our words can get jumbled up or misspeak. Doesn't necessarily mean we don't know what we're talking about, but sometimes we may speak wrong. But I said something really bad when I was in the booth with Andrew and watching it back later. I had quite the laugh about it. Maybe I'll share that story with you guys at some point. I don't know how hard you guys are going to be on me.
No way, for the 1-3.
So it looks like we're going to have a mandatory straddle going around for a while. So we're going to be 5-5-10 blinds. And AC open lips the Jack-9 offsuit. I think he's kind of thought this table seems a little passive, hasn't been really punishing people for limping. So he's going to open up his range a little bit, especially if they're playing a little bit deep.
Oliver, I'm laughing at you. He says, yeah, I get it right. WTFFF. You guys come trade places with me and don't ever make a mistake, okay?
So how do you like this? Your AC, you open limp with the Jack-9 and just flop trips.
I like it. I like it, except you want... Do you check?
You check.
Okay. Then I really like the check because he gave Mondo a chance to bet out. Now Mondo has his flush draw.
And drawing dead.
Yeah. Because AC, that flush draw makes AC's vote. He checks again, hoping Mondo would continue. I actually would have liked to see AC go ahead and bet turn there to get the most value out of a flush type hand or a queen X type of hand. He does check, hoping that Mondo would continue to bet into him. He doesn't get lucky here. But Mondo does hit the ace on the river, and so he's going to get some value here.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you do happen to cooler somebody with a jack, so, you got the boat and maybe they have just like king jack, you want to lead out on that turn to build the pot because they're going to be raising those kind of hands, and now you can get stacks in pretty comfortably. But if it checks through, then it's going to be really, really difficult. Say even if he did hit his flush, it's going to be really difficult to get a ton of value, from a hand where where you have them cooler, a nut flush versus a boat. So the turn becomes really important right there. Too many people check back really to kind of just hope that he bets. If you check raise, it's going to be probably blowing people off the hand, so just lead out.
Agree. What's up, Jamin? I see Jamin Burton is in the chat.
What's up, man?
Ghost of M, I haven't, but looks like I need to check that one out because effing up is not allowed when you're on a live stream.
We do what we want. If we want to F up, we're going to F up.
I'm going to F up all the time, you guys. I've got the brains, but I don't always have the mouth to back. I have heard of the book Don't Give an F, and that one looks like a good read as well.
Right.
Why you shouldn't give an F or something like that. That one was a good one. They did a TED talk over it. Aww. I'm not sure exactly how to say the name. Eloisezilla? Eloisezilla? What do you think? How'd I do?
Sounds good to me.
Eloisezilla, let me know if I crushed your name. But that was very sweet. They said that they saw me at Stones last weekend and was going to say how feminine and beautiful you were, but I was too shy. I am very friendly and like to be friendly, so never be too shy to come up and say hello. I always like to especially meet anyone that's ever in the chat.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Again, if you guys are just joining us, we're doing a little 5-5 no limit hold'em cash game here. Got a lot of local players that are often in the chat. It's going to be a pretty good action lineup. These players could buy in for anywhere between $2,000 to $1,000. But here at Stones, you are able to then match the largest stack. So at any time, like if somebody doubles up or makes, gets up to 2K, you can instantly reach into your pocket and match that stack as well.
Yeah, it's such a wild card in your pocket to have, because you can run bad. It happens to all of us. But if you can now just add on to match the stack of somebody, you're one hand away from having a profit.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great thing to be able to do.
Absolutely, especially if you feel like you have an edge on the table.
Right.
So we see top pair versus middle pair here. Ace-5 of clubs versus the King-8. Oh, I'm sorry. AC hits top and bottom here. Very nice hand. Well, now, Ariana, the only chance he's getting away from this here is because his kicker is not great. AC was our initial raiser as well, so that gives him more credence to possibly having a better kicker. He bets out 65, and Ariana lets it go, rightfully so. Got saved
fold
by his low kicker.
All right, it's a good fold.
It is also, a reason why maybe to just fold the ace-5. Ace-5 is one of those hands I like for 3-betting.
Right.
It's a great hand for 3-betting, but maybe not for just calling or limping with, because you really don't know where you're at post-flop. Chris, you look like you want to argue with me here, and I love a good debate, so let's have it.
I don't mind it, like, open limping with, like, a suited ace, especially like an ace-5 kind of hand. Because, again, I think it's one of those spots, like, I'm trying to overflush somebody, and I figure with the way people love to limp suited hands, that it kind of gives me a good opportunity to do so. But kind of to your point is, I'm looking for the flush. I'm not looking for a pair. I'm okay with 2-pair. I'm okay with, the wheel, but I'm looking kind of for, like, a big hand. You cannot fall in love with a top pair.
Right.
When you have no kicker.
I just think flushes are not that, you don't get them that often.
I agree.
So if we're just looking at overall profitability, then I think I'd like to play it more for a to come in for a 3-bet there. But in like a later position, I mean, even so, in a later position, I'm still thinking a 3-bet because oftentimes you're just going to get that fold equity of just taking the pot down right then.
Yeah, it's going to be 3-bet, or from late position, early position, like like the blinds.
Right. And if you do get called, you're going to be able to further narrow down your opponent's range based on that call as well. And then if you hit your hand, then you've got that going for you also.
Porter flopped a straight.
Kevin Smith, did we meet last week? And thank you for saying I'm awesome. Was that you that said hello at the bar and I took a picture with? Let me know if it was. Or where we met. What's up, what's up? Eloise is a French girl name, but he says he's totally a dude. Totally a dude.
So Triple D decided to fold pocket twos pre-flop. Now, you can absolutely raise pocket twos. Some people do like to cut out some of their smallest pocket pairs, from their range and from under the gun, under the gun one, which is fine if you're playing in a very aggressive, very difficult table.
Exactly.
While we have good players at this table, it's not very aggressive so far, and everybody on this table is not a murder.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. A lot in a super high action game with a lot of 3-betting and 3-betting, you definitely want to be folding you can be folding 6s and lower. We haven't seen a ton of 3-betting here, mostly just initial raises, which is not bad to set mine with. And with a couple of callers, because you got yourself a little pot bet. That's also a reason why you can actually occasionally, to balance your range. Sometimes, I hate limping from early position with almost any hand anytime. So you can almost come in for a little raise there and try to build yourself a little bit of pot in case you do hit your set, especially if you're going to be willing to call some sort of bet anyway. Like there, I think it ended up getting bet up to 30. If you believe someone's going to open, then you should just open.
Right.
And especially since we haven't been seeing a lot of 3-betting, then you're likely not going to fold it, get a 3-bet, but you are going to get a couple of callers and have a little bit of a pot for yourself. And you also kind of get to name your own opening price there. So
yeah, and you should have more than just super nutted hands under the gun when you're opening. Otherwise you get aces, under the gun, and everybody just folds.
Right.
So you need to have a decent range in your hand.
Right. So Kevin Smith, now I totally know who you are. You're Kevin S. You were playing in the Vloggers game. Yes, I remember very well. It was absolutely amazing to have you here, and we can't wait to see you back again.
All right, we have a whole lot of people in this hand. Is it another bomb pot? It's about bomb pot time. Unless did they do a bomb pot for $25 this time instead of?
There's already $2.75 in the pot, so bomb pot. It was a bomb pot.
A small bomb pot.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Freckle Peckle. Freckle Peckle likes the new setup with the side camera.
Yeah, it's good. I first noticed it last night. When it's great for when you have 3 people in the booth, because you can really get everybody in. Because before, if we wanted to bring in a guest, we would kind of just have to put our shoulders down and try not to squeeze them out. So now it's much more comfortable. We have a little bit of room to kind of spread out here. It's nice. And this table, it seems sturdy. You know, it's a good table.
So Kevin S., you weren't the Kevin in the Vloggers game? Now I'm confused. Now I'm thoroughly confused. I thought you said we met at the Vloggers game. We had 2 Kevins in the Vloggers game. So, let me know. T _ not sure, Kyog? He says he's a fan of 3 betting, most suited ace-x hands. But I really want to talk to someone really good to ask a few questions. Here's one for you guys to play the devil's advocate. You 3-bet ace-5 suited, and you're basing that on you get the fold so often. Yet most people who know what's going on usually fold hands like weak ace-x's and flat with suited connectors and pocket pairs. So wouldn't your ace be a blocker to their fold range? You know, I don't think you have to worry about too many blockers in that position. So, I mean, it's definitely possible in certain scenarios, but I wouldn't even, personally, I don't necessarily take blockers into account in those sorts of spots. But you could factor it in. I've never, like, processed that out all the way. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my head around that.
I think blockers are going to come more into account when you're looking at like straights that can't get there,
right.
Or you know when you should bet on like a turn based on your cards and what you're blocking, like flush nut, like if you're blocking nutted hands and you want to be able to put in a raise knowing that they can't have a nut or a second nut or something like that based on your range, or you're blocking their straights and they're betting into you, so you know that you can represent something that they just can't have. But in these sorts of 3-betting scenarios, I don't think blockers really should factor in too much.
No. Yeah, I don't actually think the aces block their folding range, because most people, you know, bad players are going to like limp or call small raises with a lot of crappy aces. You know, like that's why it's like you don't want to bet on a dry ace-high board very often if you don't have the ace, just because so many people call just with any ace-x hand that most people aren't just folding those. Yeah, good players. But, you know, if it's good players, then you just need to think about other things, you know, about, like, what are the type of hands you do want to 3-bet? You know, are you going to polarize? Are you going to do, like, a merged? So I actually don't agree that the ace is a blocker to their folding range. But I think it's actually they're really good because it actually blocks, like, aces and ace-king. It just, you know, it seems unlikely that they have those.
It's more of a blocker to their premium premium holdings. That they would be calling with.
Right.
So yeah, so in that scenario, T, I think it could work as a blocker both ways, you know, as far as blocking their premium hands that they could actually be calling you with, as well as blocking your fold range. So in that sense, I think those blockers balance each other out.
What's going on? Please fold.
Very good point, Chris. Thank you for the input. So yeah, so we have a 3-way pot here: King 10, King Queen, Queen 9. With Ariana hitting the best of it here with the 9. Second pair. Everyone's afraid of the ace, I think. Oh yeah, Oliver, in the if you want to dual chat, you can also jump into Twitch and see what people are saying, and they were posting like an interesting scenario question based on us talking about the ace-5 blockers earlier, the ace-5 3-bets earlier. And so we were just dissecting that. We weren't so much discussing the hand at that moment. Ariana's hand couldn't get any better. It just did, because it hits Harlan's queen and it makes him 2-pair.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people like to kind of float, but... And Harlan's thinking, well, he has backdoor flush draw, you know, backdoor straight draw. But being out of position with not a, you know, a flush draw that would be nutted, I don't really like his float there. You just kind of get yourself in a lot of weird spots out of position, and that's going to be really difficult to play.
So now, so now even when he hits his
Right.
queen, he doesn't feel good about
Look,
it
and
because
he
the
has to
ace is
fold.
out there and he has to fold it. So you got to ask yourself, what were you planning on doing on the turn and river there?
Right. He wanted either a 10 or a jack of spades. Basically, it was like the only cards that he really wanted.
And even then, he would have had to have still hit his outs on the river.
Right.
So yeah. Oh yes, Mr. Jacobson, we stream on both.
What's going on, Justin James? Welcome.
Please fold. We are doing quite all right. I'm actually feeling pretty good tonight. How about yourself, Mr. Glasgow?
I'm doing good. We had just a little bit of the Brussels sprouts,
I
which
devoured some
haven't
Brussels
helped
sprouts.
my ability to speak, but I feel good.
They probably haven't helped my breath either. I should probably chew on a mint after those Brussels sprouts.
I can't.
But they were delicious.
And I can't tell whether it has or not. We are sitting kind of far apart, so maybe that's a reason.
Salad alert! Did somebody get a salad to the table? We know that is plus EV here on Stone Fly.
Yeah, and why do we not have a salad command yet? I feel like that should have been entered prior to us ever starting the stream.
So yeah, Justin James was saying how he feels like blockers are pretty irrelevant in Hold'em. That was kind of what my thought was as well. I think they can come into account in certain interesting spots, especially when you're looking at possibly making a big bluff or two.
Right.
When you're blocking some of the nutted hands. But again, yeah, I think they definitely come more into account when in your like PLO type games.
Yeah, definitely it's more, applicable in PLO. But I think where blockers are really important are like if you have like the ace of spades, on a spaded board, or like say queen of spades, like that they can't have like the open-ended straight flush draw. It eliminates a lot of their big bluffs, semi-bluff hands. Like that's kind of where it's important to figure out. Okay, they've just made an aggressive action. Is it because they have a huge draw, or it's more kind of pair like made hand heavy.
Right. And I can't find the gum. We have someone in here from Australia. I absolutely love an Australian accent, so I hope you're cute. Just kidding. I do love an Australian accent, though. So welcome from Australia, from Sydney. MJ from Sydney, Australia.
And yeah, thanks for watching.
And we get a hey mate already.
Yes. They love to talk about me poker. Want to drive me car?
And
down
Mr.
to the
Vocal Terror
casino?
is in the chat, our very own Taylor.
Yes, what is he saying? Yo.
Part of our amazing production crew here. Production extraordinaire. Producer extraordinaire. GSH Malone 91. What's up? Kevin Smith says, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. That is from Mr. Joe Hashem.
Yes.
Words made famous by Mr. Joe Hashem when he won the main event.
Yes. That and pass the sugar.
Ace King for Corey here, but it was bet with the Queen 3 made the bet here on the flop, but actually Porter's the one who raised to 55 pre-flop and was called by the Ace King. Porter did hit the best of it though. And Corey never can catch up. He could have hit a 10, an ace, or a king, but he just couldn't make it happen. Porter's still best here on the river.
Not in love with
check.
how this hand is played out if I'm Corey. So you're just going to call pre-flop with one of the top hands against an aggressive opponent. So maybe he doesn't know him, but either way, against anybody, you should still be raising this hand for value. On this flop, you brick out, and this is very likely to connect with an open range, an open raising hands range. So, you could call, you could not call. Kind of just depends. Like, do you want to just try to hit your 10? But I definitely don't like the leading out on the turn when like a big draw has missed. It's just not gonna get through all that often. So I'm just kind of not in love with it.
Yeah, all around, not liking it. I like the breakdown, Mr. Glasgow. Linda, hello.
GSH Malone. Can you change your name to Carl Malone? That would be awesome.
Linda, live from Syria. What is up, Linda? Thank you for joining us from Syria. Don't forget, guys, to hit the follow on Twitch or YouTube, and you will subscribe. You'll get notified whenever we go live, wherever you are. So, yeah, Zach wanted to know, what's cute to you? I have no standard. I like smart and nerdy. I also just like the general cuteness. There's a lot of different things that I find cute. Personality, very big. I think personality and intelligence are very high on the list. And then just, standard cute good too.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have, good, intelligence, like people that have an opinion. Because looks fade, and even if looks don't fade, you get accustomed to the person's looks. And you need to be able to have good conversations, with your partner, and otherwise it makes for a real rough haul that just doesn't work.
I don't like big meatheads that look like all they do is go to the gym and never actually use their brain. I don't know. I don't like the overly ridiculous built up. Not my thing. Good for you that you go to the gym so much, but I'm not loving it. I feel like there's a little overcompensation going on there sometimes with some people, so not my favorite, but I do like physical fitness as well. So back to poker. Triple D has the ace jack versus the ace for the jack 10 for AC.
Oh, please fold. It's awesome.
Did you say please fold? It's awesome?
No. 155 pounds of pure brain here.
And AC hits the jack 10, which actually is going to help him to get paid off here because he hits, he's got a boat now, but it actually makes top pair for Triple D. So he should definitely go for some value here.
And I actually wouldn't mind him over betting in this spot.
Because it looks so bluffy?
Yeah. Because, like an ace jack's probably going to call, wait, he just folded?
No.
Or
No,
did
he
called?
called.
Okay.
So AC bet 180 and Triple D makes the call. Yeah, I think he could have gone for a really large sizing, but not knowing what Triple D has, I think he just went for a value amount that he thought.
Right, but that's saying what are you targeting? So the hand just kind of played out pretty passively up to that point, so you're unlikely to get called by much. Pocket fours probably isn't going to call a standard size bet. So at this point you're kind of targeting other tens that were trying to be tricky, or somebody that spiked a jack that was going to pay off.
Right.
And we just talked about blockers, but he did have a jack in his hand, so it makes it somewhat less likely that Triple D has jack, but he did.
Very nice. So Sean Simpson wants to know how come the chip count doesn't show what each player is in for. We do have a command. They just put it in the Twitch poker chat that shows you, and now they've put it up here. So this shows what everyone has either won or lost, and based on that you can see what they have bought in for. A lot of these players rebuy or match the largest stacks and that sort of thing, so it is easier to be able to see based on their cumulative winnings and losses and then factor it in with their current stack. Rake Back Money says, what is the best casino in Las Vegas for poker? I know what my favorite room to play in is.
What is it?
But some people would argue that it's not the best room in poker to play in, but it's my favorite room. It's the Aria. It's my favorite, but a lot of people go to the Wynn and the Bellagio are some of the top 3 spots to go. I think a lot of people feel like Aria is got a lot of regular grinders that are constantly there, but it's also a really big casino, and it brings in a lot of players during a lot of these special events. And that's when I'm in Vegas, is during the holidays or during the tech conventions or March Madness or something like that. And during that time, those late night games when people are finished drinking or have gotten really drunk, they get really juicy. I like to play the 5-10 at Aria during those times of the year.
Yeah, like Aria is my favorite. I just love the poker room. I think it's run very well, and you know, obviously our buddy Sean McCormick's over there.
Amazing.
You know, they do a really great job, and you know, they, like you're saying, and the people that stay at the Wynn are usually some business people. They have some expendable cash to drop.
Yeah, a lot of rich people there.
And not always the most skilled poker players.
Yeah.
And so for them, they could drop, you know, a few thousand, 5,000, and whatever. You know, they spent more of that on dinner already.
I agree. Go where the money's at.
And it's just a beautiful room. Like it, I love it.
The Wynn?
No, Aria.
Aria?
Yeah.
It is.
Like if I ever move out there, that's probably gonna be my base of operations. And Freckle Peckle is battling Moobot, and you're just never going to win doing that. I actually had to go to mod status just so I can battle Moobot on a equal ground.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, Moobot just, you know, automatically bans all kinds of people for dumb reasons, and so we battle.
I see. 10-7 versus Ace-3, and Harlan hits trip threes on the turn there. Takes it down. Yeah, Stones is definitely my favorite room to play in. I live here, basically. The room is super nice. Player's super friendly. Dealer super good. And the food's super great. I don't know, there's really not a lot that I could say that's not pretty awesome. Yep. Also, I do want to tell you guys about what we have coming up next, which is the Quantum.
Yes.
It's our 100K guarantee. Do need to see the exact dates for this. It is going to be...
Starts on April 30th.
April 30th.
And just runs for consecutive days. And
yeah, so very good to know is that the really cool thing about the Quantum is that we've got 4 days of where you can buy in for as little as the first 2 days you can buy in for as little as $120. Right. And if you bag, you can then buy in again for let's say the next day for $120. And if you cash again, you can take the largest stack with you, and you instantly get $900 for that second stack that you made it. So if you and $120, that's really great to be able to buy in for a 100K guarantee, and knowing that if you buy in again, you're instantly have $900 in your pocket, even without making a final table or without cashing in the actual day 2 of the event. But if you want to just straight buy into day 2, you can just straight buy into day 2 for $900, and you get $100,000 in starting chips.
Yes.
So very nice.
I feel like that's just the way to do it. Just buy straight in to day 2. Right. Sleep in for a week, buy into day 2, min cash. It sounds like a beautiful life.
So I need to get confirmation here on exactly what days the satellites start for that. I think they may start on Tuesday, the 27th, but we'll find out for sure. I think our hostess with the mostest or one of our productions will find out. I don't have the full sheet right in front of me, but we'll find out exactly what days our satellites start and timing for you guys. And they might just throw me one of our full sheets and I'll be able to. But it's also, if you guys download the Stones Live app, we have our own app. We're not on Bravo. So download the Stones Live app from either your Apple iPhone or your Android, and it has all the calendar information with the full details as well.
And speaking of timing, we have a pretty early open to 35. We have a call on the button of the 35, and you get aces in the small blind. Great time to have it. Now, obviously, we're going to 3-bet pretty much here all the time.
Right.
I want a much bigger size than this.
Okay, so the original bet was 25. You
Was
got
it
called
25? I thought it was
behind.
35.
Well, it said 75 to call, so I think that means it had to have been 25
Gotcha.
original bet. So, and then with one caller behind, you had $50 in there. Usually your 3-bet's going to go with like a 4x sizing plus 1x for
Right.
every caller. So that would have been like a little bit more, like maybe 125 or something like that.
Right, and I think you can also go a little bit larger than that, being that it's, what we've seen so far of seat 9 Corey, he has been pretty tight. So for him to open an early position should be, that much stronger of a range that he should be able to call a little bit larger sizing. So I think, that's kind of an adjustment we can make,
Right.
when you talk about like, player specific adjustments.
It was 35. So taking that into account should make the 3-bet even larger with
Right.
one caller behind. You've already got $70 in there. You want to choose at least a 4x plus basically a 5x raise at your smallest in order to really size properly there. And
Yeah.
so he did go a little bit definitely too small.
Yeah, you're giving people insanely good price to try to stack you. But it works out. If it was Kings, they would have lost because this year Kings are not doing so good. Thought I might be crunching right into the mic. I'd like to lean and watch this.
Nom.
See, they're still crunchy fries. They're delicious.
I've been starting my intermittent fasting again, so.
Or you just do that like over a couple of days, or you just talking about eating within like a 8 or 9 hour window?
Well, I did do the intermittent fasting for like 4 or 5 months, and I did it like the warrior style where your window is really small and short. But I've been doing it more loosely now, so I can still maintain like my workout regimen and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I generally start tonight. I didn't start eating until really pretty late. Like it was like close to 4. That's when I had my first thing to eat, and then this. So yeah, but it's great for mental stamina.
Mm-hmm.
We got aces again. Aces here for Brian. He just calls, so it's raised to 40 by the 6-4 parlay. Brian just calls the 40. He does not 3-bet here. Now he's going to be, basically by doing that, he's inviting in a lot of these more speculative hands, which are going to lower his equity for his aces because I'd rather see it get down to heads up or 3-way than to go 4+ way to the flop. Now in this scenario, it works out perfectly for him because he hits a top set.
Right. It does and it doesn't, right? Because it's kind of a dry board, so you're not going to get very much, and you're just crushing the board, so it's not like anybody really has another ace. So the other thing like that goes to what you're saying is you want to build a pot pre-flop, especially in kind of heads up or against 2 other people, to where you can actually have sizable value bets.
Yeah. So Harlan c-bets here to 50, and then Brian then raises it just 100 more. Harlan hit a pair here, so he decides to go ahead and continue. But again, this is what we're talking about. When you make that call on the flop, what are you expecting to do on the turn and river? Because you're likely expecting a further bet, and the sizing is going to be more, and there's an ace on the board with a flush draw. You don't have the flush cards, so what's your plan? If you're just planning to fold to further aggression on the turn, then you might as well just go ahead and fold on the flop.
Right. So getting back to your fasting, there's a lady who's been on the Joe Rogan podcast a bunch of times, Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She's I don't know if she's a nutritionist. She's definitely a doctor, but more in the research, but is very
Joe Rogan,
very into that, and kind of one of the leading experts, and actually has a podcast out with the doctor who's doing the research on that, and talking about how many the window you know,
She
to
said
eat.
9 hours is the best
Yep.
for stamina. I also watched some Joe Rogan,
Yes.
so I love Joe Rogan because I'm a scientist and I love anything science related. His podcast is just amazing. There's just so many shows. I need to like go research what his top 100 shows are and like just go watch those specifically because he does so many amazing shows. But yeah, Miss Rhonda Patrick,
She's awesome.
She is amazing and been talking so much about the intermittent fasting that they have been doing on mice and showing how healthy these mice are and how much better their bodies work, their brains and minds work on the intermittent fasting. It's great for healing from all kinds of diseases.
And she's, you know, big into nootropics. So, and she, I don't know if you found her YouTube site, but you know, it's Found My Fitness.
Not.
So YouTube/Found My Fitness, and is a gold mine of stuff there. Carlos, what's going on, man? How's San Diego?
So Harlan with pocket jacks here, basically against two ace X type hands. He still ends up best here, even though he's facing king 8-10 flop, 2 spades. Brian goes ahead and bets out here when Harlan checks his jacks. He bets out 40. Now Harlan's got to feel better when the second king comes on the turn. It definitely makes it less likely that Brian is holding a king in his hand. Now Brian has a little bit of showdown value when he hits his 9 on the river here. So that's why he goes ahead and checks back. And Harlan happily turns over his jacks. I do think that Harlan could have gone for value in this hand because no flush is completed. It was unlikely. There's only one overcard to his jacks. He's likely facing some sort of ace-10 type hand or 10, 10x type of hand, and no flush completed. 2 kings on the board. He does choose to just go ahead and check it down, which, I mean, I think we could argue for both ways. But I think on the river there, he could have gone maybe for a little bit of value. Yeah. Likely being best.
I definitely agree with that. You know, and you have to work in a lot of light, thin value spots in your game, especially on the river. You know, river, I think, is one of the, and talked about this in the streams we've passed, but river's one of the big spots where people just lose a ton of value because, you know, they just check it. And people way too often just check back, you know, so they're like, well, I don't know if I'm good. I don't want to bet if he has a king, but you know, other hands other than, you know, just top pair is gonna call you there, and then if somebody raises you, you just, you know, kind of throw it away. But you really need to be betting for thin value, like very often.
Right. And again, like something that we should always mention, it's always good to mention too, is that, you know, it's much easier from the booth when you can see what everyone has to decide exactly what everyone should do in every spot. Harlan's an excellent player, and he does very, very well for himself. It's easy to argue for specific spots whenever I know exactly what Brian has. So, yeah. I don't hate it. Actually, I don't hate it either way, but if we were just going to argue for, you know, the best possible scenario.
Well, and then there's, you know, the people I'm going to value bet more thinly than others. Brian is going to be one of them because he does like to call. He knows that there's going to be some bluffs there. He doesn't need to have, you know, a major hand to call. So he's going to be a person that I'm going to target, you know, with my thin value, you know, bets. That's not to say he's not a good player, but he's a thinking player, and he's going to put you on a range of hands that he's going to have to call at, you know, a certain frequency.
Right.
So my buddy Carlos is in the chat. He moved down to San Diego and is living the good life down there, just hanging out on the beaches, eating tacos, crushing Coronas.
I'm going to be in San Diego in June.
Nice. It'll be good weather.
June 15th. I'm very excited.
All right, looks like Ariana is added onto his stack a little bit, so he's at 2.5K.
Carlos says, totally chill, bruh. Life is good. Wow,
right.
You're a celebrity now? Now? What are you talking about? Master C's been a celebrity for a
in my own head, always.
long time. Jenna White says she's voting for a jackpot on the stream tonight. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
Love
it's overdue.
jackpot action.
That's a lot of water bottles sitting between 7 and 8, or 6 and 7.
Gotta stay hydrated. It's important, folks. Drink your water.
Right?
You know that thing about like 8 cups a day? That's way under. Way under.
Yeah, actually, I can't remember what the real word on that is, but yeah, that was just some arbitrary number that people made up. And then other people go, well, you know, kind of go by your urine, you know, which is actually not a good indicator.
To read through it.
Right, but it's a slow moving indicator, so actually by the time it starts to, you know, kind of get dark, you're actually further behind than you realize.
I think I had read something like your ounces and your weight in ounces, or half your weight in ounces. I can't remember exactly what, but there was something to do with your weight in ounces.
Pretty much, if you feel thirsty, drink.
Right, or half your weight in ounces, yeah. Some people oftentimes will confuse hunger, or when they'll think they're hungry when they're really just thirsty.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's like, if you feel hungry, drink a bunch of water,
and then
recheck
reevaluate.
yourself, reevaluate,
Yep.
yeah.
Same with when you have headaches. A lot of times people get, you know, the little headache. It's like a mild dehydration kind of influenced headache.
So ace king here for Harlan. He's going to be overcoated versus Porter's 10-7, meaning he has the higher clubs. So if it does come out clubs, Harlan's going to be best here. Brian has the king queen of spades. So again, in this spot, if the king comes, Harlan's, you know, he's just dominating these hands basically, unless our board comes, you know, in more in Porter's range here with the 10-7. So let's see how this all plays out. Let's see what the betting here. So Porter decides to 3-bet to 335, which I really like with this type of hand. We were talking about not 3-betting enough. He is in position against these two players, who Harlan's in the big blind, Brian is under the gun. So, you know, in this spot, Harlan happens to have a really premium hand, but against our two most aggressive players at the table, Harlan and Brian, 3-betting here is oftentimes a really good spot because you know their range can be very wide. They oftentimes can't call you. If you do get a call, you're playing in position against these two players. And so I do like the 3-bet. He just unfortunately ended up against a hand that hasn't dominated in more ways than one.
Right.
Oh, was it a 4-bet?
It's a 4-bet.
It was a 4-bet.
Yeah.
Oh, Harlan then 4-bets to 735. Nice. Very
and
nice.
being out of position, you know, don't get cute. Just, you know, go ahead and put in the raise. Especially if you have the option, like here on the stream, you can run it 3 times. So you're okay getting it in if it kind of happens, you know, especially against the right player. Like, you know, a lot of these the players that kind of are more tournament focused have a super high kind of getting it in pre-flop. Like they're willing to get it in pocket 4s, pocket 5s.
Who's
you know,
that?
A lot of these kind of tournament players that will play in the cash games, you know, because the nature of the tournament, you have to be kind of overtly aggressive pre-flop.
Yeah, and willing to risk it.
Right, and they don't dial that back appropriately, you know. So if you are against, you know, a player that's just kind of going to spaz, take ace king and just run it, you know, and especially if you have the option to run it, you know, 2 or 3 times. I mean, if you're just going to flip, then I'm okay with that spot, you know, by keep raising, because a lot of times you're also going to just take it down and win a nice pot. Please fold. Where was I until 420? I was pretty sure I was sleeping by that time.
Mr. Smiley, hello, sup. John Doe, what's up?
What's going on, Smiley? Good to see you.
Okay, yeah, so John Doe said it is your body weight in ounces is the proper hydration method. That's what I was thinking as well.
Gotcha. So Porter raises Ace King to 65 under the gun +2. A little bit
It's
large.
a call from Mr. Mondo with the Ducks. This could bring along some of these other hands, these suited connectors or non-suited connector type hands. Yeah, so Harlan does make the call. That is giving Brian the pot odds to call as well. And now Ariana, I could see him folding this still. Yep, he does. With the 3-5. Corey also in there with the King Queen.
Yep, and AC is going to call, completing the action.
Yeah, so we've got a 6-way here.
King Jack 3 flop.
So yeah, so Porter is going to be, he's got top pair, top kicker, and Corey here has top pair with second best kicker. 2 diamonds. Corey the only one with a diamond here. Porter is going to bet out. Checks around to him. He chooses 210.
Yeah, and Corey...
Into a pot of about 400.
Yeah, and if Corey calls this flop, he's just going to basically be getting it in on the turn.
I think Corey will call here with the backdoor flush possibility. Also, he could... There's some other options for him as well. Backdoor straight option, and then he's got top pair with second kicker. So he can oftentimes feel like Porter is just c-betting.
And he's
because
just
he was our
going to get
initial
it
racer. So yeah, so he gets it in. And of course Porter's gonna make the call. It's only $3.90 left to call. He makes the quick call here. See what our turn and river holds. We've been serving up some very cold rivers lately, and we do see a third diamond come.
Oh,
I
runner,
told you
runner.
we've been serving up some cold rivers. Our rivers are best served cold.
Yes. And I always say, the best way to build a big stack is just put it in behind and get there. You will build up a really big stack when you do that.
So Please Fold said last night's stream was legendary. Anyone here who watches Stone stream or plays here should really check out the video on demand. I agree. I cannot wait to go back and rewatch it. I heard it was just a brutally long but very interesting one to watch. We had Jason Somerville and Lex Valdehus, who are just like amazing, legends in poker.
Right.
And they were here. They took over our booth and did some amazing commentary. I think there's a lot to be learned and fun to be had by watching that. And you can actually rewatch over 200 of our archived streams on YouTube. I'm not sure if they're also archived on Twitch as well, but definitely can go back and watch those on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, everything's on YouTube, which is great, especially if you're from around here or kind of play with people. You get a chance to kind of see what everybody's done on stream. If you're going to be on a stream, you have a chance to kind of scout some of the people that are likely to be playing.
Right. We get a lot of the same players on the stream. I've actually played on the stream a lot lately. I've been in the booth a lot more than actually at these games. This 5-5 game is the one that I usually play on stream, but I plan to get back in the actual game here soon, especially now that I'm going to be vlogging. I don't know if I'll be able to vlog on stream, but I will definitely want to be playing on stream here very soon. I'm itching for it. I like to go back and watch and do analytics over the hands.
Sure.
Speaking of which, Johnny Vibes, who ran like God and played like Jesus on our vloggers game, he broke down like almost all the hands he played, which I'm really excited to go back and watch how he did that. So I saw that he posted the link on Twitter. So anyone who wants to see an amazingly intelligent, very thoughtful poker player who crushed our cash game, break down those hands for you, free content, you guys, go check out Johnny Vibes stuff. Bomb
pot with, let's see, a couple people with 10-8. We have an ace-9 for AC. And these are such weird kind of dynamics that you can't really raise with your ace-9. You just gotta call and hope that some of the turn action starts to make sense.
Right. These bomb pots can be so strange. Because sometimes nobody hits anything, and sometimes everybody hits something, and you never know exactly what you're up against.
And I don't really like this call by Porter. Sure, the ace-king is nice hand, but this is a really bad time to have ace-king. Additionally, just the dynamics of the bomb pot is there's very likely that someone has 2-pair. So you're gonna call for what? To hit an ace or a king and still have to fold, or now you're gonna pay people off.
Yeah, in a bomb pot,
Cut your losses and
not that,
get out.
That great. We see Mondo here with middle pair. We see AC here with top pair. Harlan also with middle pair. LG's got bottom.
And Brian has a open-ended straight draw.
He does. But even with top pair, top kicker, you don't feel great.
Right.
You just don't feel great on these bomb pots when it's gone 9-way to a flop, and you get all these all these people that are in the pot 5-way now. It is rainbow, that's good, but the 6-7 has gotten there now. You're beat by any set or any 2-pair. And the river still doesn't change anything. I could see this really getting checked around, people wanting to see their showdown value, or somebody trying to get a little bit bluffy here. But if it gets checked down to a later position. Let's see. Yeah, AC does check. Who ripped it?
Porter just ripped it.
This is what I was saying. I think somebody could get bluffy here. And I think AC or Porter does so because it feels like everyone's a little bit weak. With this board texture, there's only, one possible straight out there. It's very unlikely that anyone has any kind of crazy premium holding. So Porter's a man with a plan. He floated there maybe with a plan to try to steal it away. Right. He didn't do it on the turn because he had so many callers. He really wanted to see how weak everyone was. But whenever it gets checked through on the turn, Porter says, I'm going to just rip it here. And he shows the bluff. We love a good needle.
Yeah, and then you just ask, would Porter do that with 6-7 or Jack-10?
Would he just rip it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, he would. But, yeah, it's just, with ace-9, that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
I like how Porter, he has kind of long hair up top, cut on the sides, and long beard. Just hair, skin, and hair.
I like it. Anything that's a little bit different out there, I really like.
Needles are real. Mr. Smiley says, he's hoping to see another one of those mega bomb pots that Harlan, made famous.
Aces again.
Yeah, and I think Harlan is the type to just go ahead and do it again. He's just going to beat his own record.
Yeah, so we've seen quite a few pocket aces tonight. LG with him this time. He decides to raise to 55 from under the gun +2. 50 to call on Brian. He does make the call, which I really don't mind at all. I was telling you earlier, I like that Jack-10. I like it better when it's suited. That brings Harlan along in the button with the 5s, with King-Jack of diamonds. And then Porter also. Porter call as well here with the ace-5?
I believe so, suited ace-5.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far is the table from the booth? It's just over yonder.
It's true, and that's an accurate description.
That's what we say in Oklahoma, y'all. It is just over yonder. It's diagonally set about 50 yards.
Diagonally yonder. And
maybe 40 yards.
The diamonds get there immediately. No suspense.
Pain. pain, pain, pain.
Now this
pocket
is interesting
aces.
because LG does have the ace of diamonds.
Very interesting. So one more diamond, and LG's going to be good here.
And this is where you start to ask yourself, well, what called me, on the flop here? Diamonds are going to call pretty often, so it's like, do you bet out here, and then what do you do if he raises? Do you just check and call and try to hit? Kind of depends on sizing.
The thing is, against Harlan, if you just check here, he's likely gonna fire.
Right.
Even if he didn't hit the flush. So, that's an argument for going ahead and leading out and trying to, name your own price. But, you can't necessarily put Harlan on a flush here either. There's a lot of different things that are in his range that he could have. So I don't mind the bet. I think he's just got himself into a kind of a tricky little spot here.
So if you are going to bet, then basically you got to just treat it like a bet fold spot. And that's going to make him lose the rest of it.
It's tough because it didn't change much, right?
Right.
Harlan, what did Harlan call on the turn there with? He could have called with like a two pair type hand, a still drawing type hand, an ace X, top pair or middle pair, something like that you could get value from, but definitely still has flushes in his. Yeah, I think LG just has himself in a bad spot here because you can't eradicate a lot of things from Harlan's range here. Flush is a possibility, but so are so many other options in this spot. But when Harlan moves all in, even though you have top set, it's got to feel like a flush to you, right? I mean,
right. And I think like if he just
LG only has 535 left behind, so he's still he has to call here anyway.
Yeah, I think he even has maybe a little less than that. But oh no, our guys got it right again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just when you have the set there, it's hard not to fall into that mental trap of, well, in case Harlan did have a set, now I just outsetted him,
Yeah, so that's very true. It's tough. If you really feel like you're beat, I say screw pot odds sometimes. Sometimes I say, if you know you're beat, you're beat, just lay it down. It doesn't matter if you're getting 5,000 to 1. If you're beat, you're beat. But this is a tough spot because you're against Harlan, who can have a lot of cards in his range. But with the flush draw out there, also straights are out there as well. Then you kind of feel like you're beat by a straight, you're beat by a flush. What are you beating? You're beating other sets, two pair type hands. But does he really make the re-raise there with those type of hands, or does he just want to get to a showdown when you're ripping into him as much as you are? Especially because of the sizing that LG put. You know that Harlan knows he has zero fold equity. This is not a bluff. So it's just like you said. Is he going to, value shove worse than a set of aces? And I don't know, maybe he does it with a set of sixes, or eights, but I just don't know that he really value shoves anything worse. Like, I don't even know if he value shoves a straight here. Maybe he does. Harlan does do what he wants. Yeah, so someone in the chat bringing up that the ace of diamonds makes it more likely your opponent is not bluffing because we know they don't have that. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that, but it does say you're blocking the nuts.
Right.
So they can't have, and it also takes out one of their outs for actually having the flush. So it almost can give you more reason to call.
Right.
More so than a reason to fold like they're not bluffing.
Right, because you think of it, just the Commentators, so many people are going to call ace 5, ace 7, ace 9, of diamonds, like any ace diamond. So that takes a ton of flush hands out of their range.
Now, what's up, Parashin? The game's going really great. We've seen lots of aces. We're mixed in a really big hand right now where, Harlan hit the flush on the turn here against pocket aces who hit top set on the river. and it went raise by set of aces, and then a shove by Harlan. LG with only 535 behind.
This is going to be a great fold if he does it.
Yeah, he is. It's an excellent fold because there's so much argument for, oh, it's Harlan. Oh, you've got odds. Look at the pot size. It already has 3.9K in it. But again, like I say, if you know your beat, you know your beat. But he keeps talking himself out and in of a card.
Yes.
He just can't decide. And rightfully so. It's a really trick spot. I will be amazingly impressed if LG does lay this down here. It will show a real poker intelligence.
Did he call?
He did make
he
the
called.
call. It's hard to get away from it there.
Yes.
I can't blame LG for completing.
No. And like I said,
I agree, Floyd.
Yeah, if he had not hit the set on the river, I think, he folds pretty easily, a disgusted fold. But once you hit that set, it's just sometimes you can kind of get blinded a little bit by your own hand as well.
Right.
Like, how can it be that I'm beat? I have this monster hand.
Right. He's also could Dream BG. He could also have been beat by a straight as well.
Yeah, it is Harlan, and Harlan is in late
Harlan
position
could have
over a couple callers already.
Yeah, Harlan could have had those straight cards because Harlan does play those type of cards often.
Like Paroshin.
As if I'm not Paroshin. What is that supposed to mean? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm actually just like about 9 feet tall, so she's a normal person.
Cody Moose says, you think long, you think wrong. Yeah, it looked like he was so about to fold, and then he just said, I got to go with it against Harlan.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they tank him, that they're usually err on the side of calling. Not a lot of people really tank fold like themselves out of it.
Good night, Kevin.
Kevin,
Sweet dreams.
good night.
Hope you dream of lots of top nutted hands.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I thought the 55 was a decent open. I think, because it goes from 10 to 55, like that's pretty fine. I think people probably would call a little bit larger, but that's kind of towards the top of your like what you can kind of expect to get called by one or two people.
Open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just happened that 5 people called.
Yeah, I think if you go too large, you're really turning your hand face up.
Yeah. I mean, the pocket nines can't even call at that point, and you start like just bombing, and that's a disaster.
Yeah, Dream BG was like, that can't be in his range. WTF? We're like, well, how many of these streams do you watch with Harlan? Because
so there's
if
this
you
guy
did,
named
you would
Harlan.
realize that he loves to play those type of hands, and because of them, he creates fat stacks for himself by getting a lot of value when he hits his hands because he gets calls like he did when that spot right there. I mean, obviously we cannot blame LG for calling there, but and he gets called when he has it so often because people consider his range to be so wide.
Right. Suited Aces, what's going on, man? Welcome to the chat.
Suited?
Oh.
Yeah, said Harlan and Porter look like good dudes, and I think you know them better than I do, but I've always had good interactions with them. So
With Harlan and who?
and Porter.
Oh, okay, yeah. Both play a lot of poker. Awesome guys. Harlan also runs a CrossFit gym. Super into fitness, has a lot of knowledge. He really helped me a lot with just by showing me a couple little things here and there. Really improved my ability in the gym. So awesome
Nice.
guy. And I don't, I've played with Porter that much, but I haven't had a lot of conversations with him. But he's definitely knowledgeable about the game.
So Harlan opens to 35 with the ace-10 of clubs. And Brian decides to continue. Looks like Brian's adding on.
2,000. Brian just added 2,000 to his stack. Because here at Stones, you can match the largest starting stack at any time. The largest stack at any time.
Yeah, Cody Moose says there's been some interesting hands tonight. And I actually agree. There's been a lot of, some very interesting dynamics in these hands. All right, checks around, and surprisingly, nobody has a spade. AC bets his pocket fives, thinking, if it checked around, nobody probably has a pair. Brian does have top pair, just lousy kicker, so Brian's going to continue. So what's going to be interesting to see is how AC plays the river. Is he going to turn, at this point, he's going to know he needs to turn his fives into a bluff. It's just, will he?
Right.
And fourth spade.
Will probably keep him from doing so.
Right.
Nope. It actually gave him the go-ahead.
Yeah, I think he's thinking, well, if Brian had a big spade, being checked to him on the flop, being on the button, he did not bet, but he would think that he would bet, like, say if he had the queen of spades, something like that, eight of spades.
It works. It rightfully works. Very nice. I knew AC was a quality player, and that really proves it right there. Good spot. Good spot to choose it. Yeah, it was a good river to bluff. I wasn't following the whole dynamics of the hand, but the fourth spade actually created a better spot to bluff. I'll eat my words.
Your words taste a lot like French fries.
Like truffle fries.
Right?
Yeah, and as long as those things are still in front of me, I'm gonna keep eating them. Make them disappear.
I'm just wondering how this is gonna go.
Interesting.
A little bit of truffle fry with balsamic.
A little balsamic drizzle there. I had
I
no
approve.
carbs all day, and then
I approve.
the dang truffle fries got me. Okay, 8-5 of diamonds for Mr. AC. He's going to call the 10. We see some limpage here. Limpage all around.
We hate to see limpage.
Yeah, when we see all that limpage, we could almost like to go for a raise here with any hand out of the BB and just take it down. Facing too many weak hands. Ace-6 for Ariana. Middle pair. AC's got a... Oh, no, AC's got the straight. AC hits the straight right on the flop. Look at that. What a night. And it's so disguised.
Right.
It's so disguised. Because nobody can put him on the 8-5. I mean,
right.
It's so unlikely to be in there with the 8-5. However, it was a limped pot, so it could be anything. But still, again, it's just very hard. But
and nobody has
much except for, the ace-6 had middle pair. But, yeah.
What a flop, says Cody. That's what AC was thinking. So Corey really just hasn't had much. He had the one hand that he got fortunate to, to catch his runner and double up, and that's really been the only thing he's had. I think AC could open raise here, the 10-9 late position. You're fine if you take that down. It's definitely a good enough hand that if then somebody does call, because most likely people are going to call are going to be the blind, so you're going to be in position against them with a hand that plays very well.
Open-ended for AC. Ooh. Jack 10 for LG. It's got middle pair, backdoor flush or straight possibility as well. And Mr. Mondo with top pair, bottom kicker. Turn comes a king to complete the straight, but it also puts a flush out there, giving LG more options here, because he now also has straight and flush possibility. Actually, yeah, not a straight flush possibility, but straight and flush options for him.
Yeah, and I actually really like this bet. I think a lot of people would just kind of check there. You lose value. And,
yeah.
And now you're just going to see this go check.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice. We like we were saying, a lot of rivers here to be had. Eric Ridland says, truffles. Very good.
You need to try this.
They're very, very good. And tomorrow is basketball day. A lot of the dealers and poker pros and just a lot of the people on the team here at Stones like to go out and play some basketball on Tuesdays. I happen to be one of the people that like to go play basketball on Tuesdays, so I'm going to go work off these truffle fries for about 3 hours of basketball tomorrow. Love it.
So what do? You shoot the three?
Day. I always end up taking one step in, so I can't, my shot's just not good enough to actually hit that three. So I'll like start behind the three, but I always end up having to take one step and then a shot. So yeah. But these nails also really hurt my shot. So next time I go to get them redone, I'm going to have her take them a lot shorter and square them up.
Can you have like little zipper nails so you can just unzip them and have regular size nails?
Do they make those? No, they don't. But that would be a cool little invention if they did. Yeah, but I kill it on defense. The guys are always like whining and complaining and like trying to make it act like what I do is not legal. When everything I do is fully legal, they're just not near as aggressive on defense as I am, especially, underneath. I like block out, as I was taught to do, very hard. And, they just like to whine and complain whenever a girl that's 5'4" is getting more rebounds, and then, it's fine. I'm used to it. They don't like to see a girl, like, kill them on D, but you gotta hustle. I'm a hustler in all things.
The thing that's great about basketball is it's a sport where elbows are really valuable.
I don't throw any bows, although I have had a bow thrown at me straight to the chest on purpose for no reason.
Hope he came up with a 5-finger discount to their face.
Oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into the drama that has arisen from that move. But, yeah.
Well, thankfully, we have a nice segue to an open and a straight draw and a flush draw.
Yeah, So LG with a flush draw and a straight draw.
And Corey has his straight.
Yeah, Corey already with the made straight. So if it comes LG straight, he's in trouble here. But he could hit the flush. And AC, he shouldn't really be hanging around for any reason at all. We should see a quick fold. Looks like he's on his phone, so he's definitely not calling here. Please fold the most necessary segue ever.
Anything could be a segue if you try hard enough. All right, so this is not really what Corey wanted to see. The front door flush get there. And even Especially it being the king, so now he's chopping with, you know, any queen X hands.
So he checks over to LG. Let's see what sizing he chooses. The pot has 810 currently in it. I'd like to see a little bit over a half size bet. I think could get called here. You could make an argument for even going a little bit smaller, maybe. I don't necessarily love the over bet here with the flush, because it does look so much like a flush when he's just calling the whole way through. It looks like a flush draw.
Looks like about 300.
Harder to get through, yeah. So he bets 300, a little bit over a third pot size bet here.
It was 800, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So just like a little less than half, a little more than third. So yeah, I like that sizing. It was like right in the range I was discussing. I said 1/3 to half, and he did right around there, and he gets the call. So yeah, knowing the right value sizing to actually get your
very
call
important.
is so important to actually being profitable.
Yep. That's poker, says Ghost to M. And he can't be banned because he's a mod. So we just have to live with it.
So MJ thinks that he didn't bet enough. He thinks that he should have gone for a larger sizing. You know, I mean, he did happen to be up against a straight, which means he probably could have gotten paid a little larger, but he didn't know that he was up against a straight. There's so many other hands that he could have had there, that his opponent could have had there, that aren't going to call much more than that.
Right.
So
and I actually think, sorry to cut you off. I actually think, you know, against good players, like, you get paid less often when the front door flush specifically hits. You know, it's just such an obvious draw that comes in that, you know, just those kind of large sizing bets don't really work out, like, you know, kind of how you think. Like, you know, people are going to fold huge hands when the front door flush gets there. So, like, front door flushes end up being good boards to bluff if you can pretty accurately put them on not a flush.
Yeah. Andy Hines said he likes it. 2 pair hands. Yeah, agreed. It's a lot easier to say you can go for more when we can see all the cards here in the booth.
Right.
Harlan betting out with the King Jack here. Gets called by the ace-6 here. No, Corey bet out the 100. Harlan called. Now we're to a river.
Yeah, Harlan just hoping to hit that queen. But I mean, really, it's, you know, what queen does he want to hit? Like, only two queens make him feel comfortable.
We've seen quite a bit of Harlan floating and then having to fold.
Right.
That might be something that he could be saving himself a little bit here if he either comes up with a plan to try to steal if he's gonna float, rather if he doesn't hit his card, or if he wants to just go ahead and start folding by preemptively thinking about the bet sizing, the bet that he's gonna. That's when you have to calculate your reverse implied odds in different spots. You know, what are your odds of getting paid off if you hit your card? What sizing are you going to get? Amount are you going to be able to extract from your opponent? But also, what are you going to have to call if you don't hit your card and you want to like chase for another street? Let's say if it's on the flop or something, and you really have to factor those amounts in when calculating your odds, and especially with like how many outs you have and that sort of thing, in order to really be able to continue successfully.
Right. And then the worst thing is, you know, you could hit a hand, you know, make your hand and still be dominated.
Okay, so Alex says he can't find our mobile app at the Android store. It is Stones Live. I believe is it called Stones Live? It's the Stones Gambling Hall. Let me see. Oh, it says right here, Stones Gambling Hall. The app is called Stones Gambling Hall. Stones Gambling. Type that in. It is in both Android and App Store. Should be the very first thing that pops up when you type in Stones Gambling Hall. It's not on Bravo.
All right, LG has 2 pair now. Brian with the flush draw and gets there.
With the 7-3. Speaking of rangeless.
And Brian is probably going to get paid off here because it is the backdoor flush draws, and backdoor flush draws just get paid.
Okay, yeah, so Brian, he was under the gun, so he was in the straddle there, and that's the reason why he was in with the 7-3.
Right.
And he gets there. Lord Chinchilla said, what did I miss? I had to adult for a while.
Sounds
you missed
terrible.
some sick rivers is what you really missed.
Yeah.
Some sick runouts. I don't know when you left us. But we've had a lot of rivered flushes when people had straights that we just saw develop recently. Yeah, backdoor flushes, backdoor straights, sets versus flushes, all kinds of top sets versus flushes, all kinds of fun stuff. We've been doing our usual very, very icy rivers.
Yeah, they do people dirty. Most rivers, kind of clean things a little bit. Like, not the rivers here.
Very dirty rivers.
Let's see. LC full. Nope, calls. He looked like he wanted to fold and changed his mind to a call. Might be a little bit of a tell there.
Quantum is April 30th through May 6th. Is our Quantum poker tournament.
Mr. Mondo really hasn't been too active today. Hasn't had too much to play with. So I'm sure at this point, people probably have noticed. So you would expect some kind of light folds to him.
Harlan is Harlaning. Yes.
But not... He's not Harlaning to, like, the Harlan degree.
No.
Like, like when Harlan really gets on, like, the Harlan rampage, he just starts hitting every single river. And he's, missed some rivers. He's just kind of spinning his Harlan tires. That's a pretty good flop for 9-8. It's a bad card for ace jack, because now Mondo's gonna is probably gonna call over 2 streets here unless a 4th heart comes on the river.
Yeah. So with LG with the straight here, it's gonna be pretty tough. It's got 2 pair though for Mondo. Let's see the sizing he chooses here. It's 260 in the pot.
I think I might bet like 175 in this spot if I was LG.
He bets 150, so very close to what you say here. It's a quick call from the ace jack. It's gonna show him. It's the bad news. Taking him to Value Town.
Right?
Look at him. I'm loving it. He's really going for the value. There was a flush still out there. He wasn't to be deterred.
Right.
Still went for the value. So many other hands that his opponent could have there. And I like it. I'm very impressed with LG's value betting. Probably one of the very most important things to be successful.
Yeah. You have to be very familiar with Value Town and know all the routes to it.
So many players would check there, even though they've got a straight, they're going to check there because of the flush being out there.
Right.
You're facing one opponent who has so many other hands in his range besides the flush. And so, yeah, take him to Value Town.
You gotta try a little cheese with the balsamic.
Yeah.
Truffle olive.
Ten 9 for Corey from the cutoff. I would expect a call. We do. Harlan's got the pocket 3s. He's going to set mine here. Calls the 25. No, he raises to 80, so he chooses a 3-bet with the pocket threes from late position. I actually like that. He gets a fold because, you know, so often you're just by having a pair in late position, you are best. But also, you know, and you can get a lot of fold equity. So many times you're not going to hit your 3-bet. You're not going to hit your set. And so by going ahead and raising there, you're able to represent a lot of other hands when the board comes out. You get it down to maybe one other opponent, which also helps you with getting, you know, just expected value from your hand.
And the other thing that's great, it's like, you know, you think about, say you have pocket tens. If you 3-bet pocket tens and you get ace jack to fold, that's pretty good for you, you know, because you just got a hand that has like 50% equity against you to fold. Now you got pocket threes, like every hand is pretty much flipping with you, so you're getting a ton of hands that would normally call, like, you know, 9, 10, 7, 8, whatever,
All
you know,
that stuff.
all that stuff to fold. Like, that's all really good for you.
Yeah, so from later position, we love it. Corey with pocket sixes here. He's just limping here from the hijack. But it gets raised by the ace 4 to 60. I like the raise. I like it better if you're even in later position with the ace 4, but yeah, I mean, I think with an ace 4 suited type of hand, you're either folding or raising 100%. Oftentimes I'm just folding unless I'm in like super late position or early position and I want to like 3-bet with a lot of limpage, or I mean an open with a lot of callers. So even though all the sixes are now out, so Corey hits middle set here. One of our 3 spades out there, nobody with a spade in their hand. But when he gets all those calls, it could slow him down, fearing that somebody may already be there with the flush or drawing to the flush.
Right.
And again, I'm not exactly sure what Harlan was calling with on the flop there with the ace 4 of diamonds.
Was Harlan on the bet? I thought it said he bet out, so maybe
pre.
he's trying to...
He bet pre-flop. Maybe he c-bet?
I think so.
We should have our graphics that'll pop up here in a second and tell us exactly what it was.
Looks like it's about 125 and should fold around.
Harlan has not folded yet. He now has 2 pair. He's not one to give up easily.
And he is one that does like to make some moves.
Yeah. If he thinks too long, though, it really takes away his option to be able to successfully, like, re-raise successfully. Because he just thought, thinking too long, it kind of shows that he might not be that strong. Now, AC with a better hand to call with because he's got second pair and basically top 2 pair, and he does make the call. He's going to find out he is very beat.
Nice hand, Corey. What's going on, Battle and Glory? So we have a dealer change, and we will see if they do decide to do a bomb pot. It seems weird that they've only been doing $25 bomb pots. Like you were kind of so used to like $50 bomb pots, you know, just to.
Well, in the 5-5 game, we usually do 25.
Is it 25?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone gets a little crazy and starts getting bigger. Maybe just the last couple streams I've done is just
They wait
the right
for
group. Yeah, the right group of people.
Yeah. usually hard to get everyone to even agree to the 25, and sometimes like I have to tell them, okay, well, we just have to deal you out then this hand, but the button stays or whatever, you know, because there'll be one or two people who just won't want to do the bomb pots.
It's fun for the game.
Yeah, especially if you're stuck. Bomb pots are like that chance to just like, you know, get unstuck a little. Cumulative winnings, Triple D with our biggest winning of the night with 905. He did not make that by having the best hand, folks.
Yes.
LG is down the most currently.
We are streaming until 10 p.m. Pacific, so just over half an hour more.
Harlan also up quite a bit.
And we're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and multiple Sundays every month, doing cash games and tournaments, and usually from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific. And the tournament final tables just kind of start whenever we get down to final table, but we're always sending out a information on when the final table stream will go.
No problem. To Battle of Glory. Also, somebody said, what's the best appetizer option at Stone's? Ugh. Hard to choose one. Someone else was talking about how good the pizza is. The pizza is amazing because we have like a brick oven pizza, a brick oven or wood fired pizza. I don't know, whatever it is, it's amazing. The pizzas are insane. The pear arugula is just like to die for. They have the one you can do this garlic sauce instead of red sauce. And but the best appetizer, I mean, I always order the Brussels sprouts, but
maybe
like
duck tacos are
the duck
really
tacos
good.
are super legit, as well as the egg rolls. The little mini egg rolls are really good. Like the dumplings. I don't know.
There's
Take
a
your
ton
pick.
of stuff.
There's like you need to just try out the menu. During our big tournament, the waitresses were coming around with all these appetizers and just like giving them away free to players that were playing in the tournament. Like really, really nice. And then they oftentimes will just come around with like free, warm, hot out of the oven cookies, either peanut butter or chocolate chip, and are just like, here, who wants a cookie? I'm like, why do you have to come around with free cookies? Like, really? Why are you doing this to me? They're all warm and smell so good.
And they're amazing.
They're really good, yeah. Yeah, someone said chicken balsamic salad is the best thing at Stone's. I eat that salad almost every single night I'm here. I didn't tonight, I did the Brussels sprouts, but yeah, pretty much every night I'm here, I'm eating the chicken balsamic salad. I would recommend getting the dressing on the side unless you like a lot of dressing on your salad, but very good salad. Ace King for Mondo here. He raises it up to 35 from under the gun +1. The 10-8 of diamonds AC from the small blind is going to call the 30. That's going to bring in Porter with from the big blind with the A6. And under the gun, 25 to call. Queen 3, he's going to let it go. So did he limp there under the gun with the Queen 3 there? Because if he had straddled, then it would have been 10, and it would have only been 20 to call. So it looks like he may have limped there. I really don't like that limp, because then with like that, you've got to fold unless it limps all the way around, which is really unlikely in this 9-handed game with these action players. Andy Hines says he wants the best hand to win. Unlikely.
Yeah, and as frustrating as it is to get drawn out on, you know, you just need it to happen. You know, that's what keeps people coming back, and they got to win from time to time, and you just consider it as rent. And it's just rent in playing poker. And who do we have? We do have a new player in seat 8.
Wow, familiar face.
I haven't seen the name yet.
I can't remember his name offhand, but he plays a lot of poker. He's here a lot. I've played against him many a times. Brian O. Ace Jack. Nice little hand to start him off with. He raises it up to 30. It's going to definitely get called by Ariana, a.k.a. Dave. He's going to make the call. Ace 10 is going to definitely come along for the ride. Nope, he's going to put in a 3-bet, which I actually like to see with this hand. He needs to be 3-betting it here.
Well, Eric, if you're saying that you're going to bed, sleep well. Thank you for checking out the stream. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya, Eric. Zach, who are you asking what's your biggest win? Are you asking us? Cash? Tournaments? What do you want from me?
What do you want?
Ooh, a flopped. Oh, I thought the 3 was a diamond too. It looked like it for a second, but it can't be because Mondo has the 3 of diamonds here. But AC does flop. You know, nice time to 3-bet. He got called 3 ways, which he couldn't love, but he flops the nut flush draw. Harlan also in there with the flush draw, and Mondo has the 3 of diamonds as well. So a lot of those outs are taken, making it less likely that he's actually going to hit his flush here. So, as well as top set for Mondo right now already, and open-ended straight for Harlan. And the 2 overs with the backdoor flush possibility for Ariana.
Yeah, I think now, you know, that we have a sizable
No,
open.
it was a 3-bet. YouTube.
A sizable open with a, you know, a very large raise. So Ariana's going to be able to get out of there. Now Harlan is going to have a difficult time. Now here's the thing. It's like, so who's raising with what? Like if you think somebody's raising or bet out with the flush draw, it's likely they have a better flush draw. In which, yeah, you have the open-ended and straight draw, or, you know, open-ended straight draw.
You have the 3rd nut flush, though. Draw. Could be a smaller flush draw. But I think it's good to have made the big sizable raise like he did here to really protect your hand. You're facing, you know, a lot of straight possibilities, a lot of flush possibilities. You really want to make these draws, punish them, super punish them for trying to draw to this, which is what he does. Harlan does make the call, and I would expect to see AC make the call too, because he can hit a deuce as well as his flush.
And I think AC probably just shoves at this point. Yeah, he doesn't really have enough to do anything else.
Yeah, so he's going to shove. But if what AC doesn't realize, if he hits his deuce, unless it's the deuce of diamonds, you know, Harlan's going to have him beat with the higher straight.
Right.
So he moves all.
And if you're Mondo, you're like, what in the F is going on? Please give me a number 3.
Or, you know, pair the board and let me have a boat here.
So he's like, does somebody have a higher set?
Right,
like, what is going on? It's like, you know, a 3 is good for you.
And now we just need to wait for the sickness to happen.
Yes. Now we wait for that other shoe to drop.
It's coming. Which way is it gonna come?
So it's gonna be a gnarly river.
Do it fast, or are we gonna do it slow?
Well, the way tonight's been going has been the rivers. I mean, flushes have been hitting right away, but
I'd like to see 2 streaks of sickness here. So yeah, Mondo now moving all in for another 825 behind, really putting Harlan to the test.
And Harlan already called.
Harlan, yeah, now calls because now he has a pair, a straight draw, and a flush draw. And he hits 2 pair, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to get it done.
And Mondo saying, "Oh, great, now the 6." But he is in love with this pot.
Wow, look at this pot.
12
Oh my god, it's a 12.2K pot. Holy moly.
Wow.
Wowza. Wowza, wowza.
So I was off by my my pre-stream, guess on how big the stacks were going to be. I said, the big stacks are going to be 5K. No, it's just 12K.
12K. And
no biggie.
just a little 5-5 action.
Yeah, no biggie.
A little 12K pot. 12K taking Kasey out. Oh my goodness.
And that
for
is,
12K you can fly me to Bali. Let's go.
And that is a bankroll for some people.
Wow, wow, wow. 12K. Holy moly, he's on cloud 9. Cash out, table 11.
Right?
I wouldn't hit it and run, but I would wait 1 orbit, maybe 2 orbits, sitting there like pretending to look and folding and giving my butt to the cash out section here. No need to try to make any more, in my opinion, for the night.
Yeah, that's a good night.
I'm
and
good there.
That might be his biggest cash ever.
Insane.
That'd be a lot of people's biggest cash ever.
Whenever, listen, people can only buy in for between $2,000 to $1,000.
Right.
He now has 12.2K in front of him, and he could only buy in for 1,000 to start this game.
And I don't know if he added on.
I never saw him add on.
Well, let's do our little, was it the...
Holy moly, what is happening here?
Chip win. Let's see if he added on. I don't remember what the command is.
Jeez.
Taylor, help me out. Put it in there.
Oh my god.
What's the command? Or one of the other mods actually know the stuff that the mods are supposed to know.
I don't know.
Chip win? No, that's what I put in.
Somebody knows. They're gonna hook us up here in a second.
Ghost or a Wattbry or somebody.
Jeez.
Help us out. Put in the chip win or command so we can see if he's added on or not. Because I think he's just in for...
Somebody said it wasn't 12K. That Harlan only had 40K to start. But there was another opponent in the pot as well. Harlan wasn't the only one all in. I think it was AC. AC was also
Cash
all
win.
in. So yeah, it was AC, Harlan, plus the money that he already had.
Yeah, and I don't think Mondo was in for 3K. So 1, 2,
Cash
3,
win, somebody
4, 5.
Oh, there it is. He's up 8.6K now. That's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, why couldn't I have taken seat 7, I mean, tonight?
Right?
Who knows that I would have played it the same way or been in there the same way, but oh, it's nice to dream.
That's one of the areas I'm really trying to improve in my game is picking the hot seat. You just got to know. Like I don't know if any like crystals would help or like some rubbing salts.
Oh. If it makes you feel lucky, then go for it.
Right.
I hate college says when someone shoves for more than the effective stacks, it messes up the numbers. I don't think it could mess up that much though because he's up 8.6K, which he had to have quite a, his own stack already as well. So he's up 8.6. That's not what his money that he's actually bought in or added on for.
It seems like he has less than that.
He's got some whites there too, but yeah, it does.
Yeah. He has like 1,000.
He needs to put those whites in front here.
It'll get it together.
Yeah.
Either way, it was a hell of a pot to win.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it says Mr. Mondo has 12.2K. So that could be inaccurate, but well, look at that. Look at all the. I see
Let's see.
2,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6 plus
He has about
1,000,
7.
7, like 7.5.
Yeah, between 7 and 8,000.
Yeah. Regardless, huge, hugeness. Sickness.
Huge.
We're loving it.
Huge.
Huge. I caught a pot that was this big.
Wow.
You know, like the fish stories.
Yep.
It's like.
But you should have seen the one that got away.
You should have seen the one that got away. Oh, man.
And then after you win like a big hand like that, there's like a readjusting period. You
Right.
kind of got to get used to the fact that you have that many chips in play, and especially if people start adding on. You need to really kind of be aware of how that's going to change the dynamics of hands, and you know you can't lose your stack with the second nuts. Like that's just an absolutely huge thing to do. It's one of the areas that makes the matching of the stacks great is oftentimes people who build a big stack, kind of luck their way into it.
Right.
And these are people then that aren't as that good. They're going to lose $7,000 the same way they would lose $100. So when you can match their stacks, they're just going to hand it over to you.
I love that. It's such a great point. Andy Hines, I completely agree. I said 1 to 2 orbits, but really with that big of a pot, at least 2 orbits just to be friendly. You can pretend like you're looking at your cards and then just fold. It's like
Right.
no need to like get sucked out on and lose or have anything weird. It's just like protect what you've got. But you definitely don't want to be disrespectful to the other players, in my opinion. You can do what you want. You can get up at any time. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's super disrespectful to just get up and leave after
Yeah.
winning such a huge pot. It's just as easy to just sit and hang out. If you don't want to, you can just play conservative. But if you feel like it's going to scare you that you're losing your pot, just pretend to look at your cards and just don't look and just fold a couple of rounds or, play super conservatively and do your thing. And, other people, if you're just super comfortable,
What?
then just play your normal game. But for a lot of people, I think for most players playing at this level, to have built up a huge stack like that,
Right.
you really want to protect it.
Yep. And pretty much anytime if you get to a point, whether in wins or losses, that you become aware of it, that it changes your play, just leave. At that point,
I
it's like,
completely agree.
yeah, you're
They
not playing the
updated
game.
graphics and it said 6.1.
There you go. The more we look at it, the smaller that pot gets. we gotta just let it go.
John Doe says, it's amazing how you look like when you... It's amazing how good you... I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to say, but what he did say was, it's amazing how you look like when you look like you played good, when all it was the other guy didn't catch his flush. That's why he is gawking. He is a gawking success.
That just rolls right off the tongue.
Right. I don't know what you just said there, but let's just go with it.
But obviously, you're just saying it's like, you won that huge pot, because everybody just kind of missed all their outs, and it's one thing to just be aware of wins or losses aren't always related to how well you played. And oftentimes when you win a huge pot like that, it isn't necessarily skill, it's, big hand over big hand, or, big hand versus big draw.
But wait a second here. Let's be real here. He had the best hand the whole time.
Right.
He started with the best hand, with the pair. Nobody else had one. He hit a set, best hand. Finished with the best hand. So, not always the case. But in this spot, right?
Right.
In this spot, right, the best hand, he was best the whole way through. And won it. So, good job. You're supposed to punish those draws, and they're not supposed to get there that often. So, not near as often.
Yeah, especially when they're
supposed
sharing
to
each
win.
other's outs.
Yeah, and they're sharing each other's outs, exactly. And you have one of their outs, too.
True that.
Yeah, Zemi said basically the same thing. He did play it well. He got his money in good and didn't get sucked out on. That I like.
Yes. That's another skill that's good to have.
GSH Malone said that was friggin' hilarious. I'm not sure what was hilarious. We are dual chatting, so there's people in YouTube that are making comments that we're reading out. People in Twitch are then responding to those. So just jump in both chats.
Cross-platform it.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Cross-pollinate.
Zach, I usually go into the game knowing that I want to win. If I hit that number, I'll leave. But Zach, don't just leave. Yep. It's like you take all the money off the table like right away, like right after you hit a huge pot. Ugh. Everybody in the whole room instantly hates you. Maybe you don't care, but there is, like, I do believe in a certain amount of etiquette to the game and being considerate of other people's feelings. I mean, it's just as easy for you to just hang out patiently. You don't even have to actually look at your cards. You can pretend to and just fold. But, show a little respect and care for, for the room and the players. Treat others as you would like to be treated.
Right. And to take that comment a little bit further is don't go into any session with a number in mind. Because a lot of times if you're winning, it's because, of reasons of either you're playing well, the game is really good. So if you say, hey, I want to make $500 and you reach $500, you might have just lost out on the opportunity to win $4,000. So play while the game is good. Have your determination whether you're going to stay or leave based on the table, how you're playing, or how many hours you've played. It's one thing if you say, hey, I want to play 10 hours. You hit 10 hours and you're like, okay, I've hit my time, and you can leave. But don't do it just based on a number.
Lord Chinchilla said, what if the game is still good? I want to answer that question. Let's finish up this hand here. 8, 9, 10 jack. So Harlan with the jack. He's got 2 pair now. The open-ended straight does not get there for Brian. Harlan is best here. Brian gives up. And let's see if Harlan goes for some value. Nope, he just flips it over. He doesn't think he's getting called by anything worse. So he just flips it over. Zach says I come back after an hour buying for a lower amount. Oh my gosh. Zach, you and I could never work.
Troll.
Okay? We don't like that. New. And now you pissed him off, and then you super pissed him off. I don't even think an hour is long enough for you to be allowed to come back. I think it's got to be 2 or I don't know. I thought it was longer than an hour. That is
And Watbry has an amazing strategy, that Zach should actually employ. It's I break out Amazon and show them what I'll buy with their money. Computer, golf clubs, etc.
So Lord Chinchilla says, what if the game is so good? You know what, if the game is so good, and this is something that Phil Ivey always said, he said, well, when do you leave? And Phil Ivey says, he leaves whenever the game is not good anymore, when he doesn't have an edge, right? Or if you get too tired, then you've lost your edge. I use a poker analytics app to tell me my most profitable hours and the length of my sessions and when I should be cashing out based on when I become mentally fatigued and am no longer focused, my best days to play and my least profitable days. And over the long haul, you can really find out where you're most profitable and use all those things to your advantage.
Right.
But Lord Chinchilla, I can't agree with you more that you stay until the game's no longer good, until you no longer have an edge. I think what we're really discussing here is when you've had a huge win for so many players, that could, be a huge part of your bankroll. And if all these players are then able to match your stack instantly, and you're not used to playing at that high of stack sizes, and it's going to make you feel out of your zone and uncomfortable, then you need to be cashing out, right? If this is one of your biggest wins of the night. However, if you're used to playing at these stack sizes with these levels and you have an edge on that table, play it. By all means, don't cash out unless you've lost your edge.
Waprai is still needling me from like 2 years ago when he won a pot off of me. I think actually he did not buy dinner for his wife. I think he invested, and it's really helped him out in life. So you're welcome. Yeah, and like you say in the games while it's good. Like, the other day I was down in the Commerce, and I played until about 3:30 something in the morning. Get up and leave, drive back, and I was just gonna play at my home casino for a couple hours. And then the game was great, and I ended up playing like 14 hours, and I would have kept playing, but I could not keep my eyes open at that point. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, I've had situations like where I win huge, and I had to leave for some reason, like I had already had a commitment or something. Usually, like if I have something like that, and I know, like as long as I don't forget, I'll oftentimes tell the players, hey, like, when I know I'm leaving in a certain moment, I'm like, hey, you guys, I gotta leave, or like at 11, whatever, just so in case something like that does happen. And then, just let the table know. I always said I had to leave at 11, you guys. I'm sorry, but I've been saying that. You guys already knew that, or, just let the players know I always had a prior commitment that I had to engage in.
I just tell people in every single hand, hey, it's my last hand, so if I bad beat you, sorry. And then I just leave whenever I want, like 7 hours later.
Brought Bryce said he did a 36-hour session and will never do that again. Yeah, I definitely become least profitable if I play too long of a session or too late into the night when I normally would be sleeping. I know that very well. I also know my least profitable days. Really important to know. Tuesdays, generally least profitable, although I've had some Tuesday sessions that were just insanely good, but they're one-offs because Tuesdays for me tend to be just all regs. Not a lot of recreational players here. The games are pretty dead. But then, I say that, and then when I get the itch to play, I play on a Tuesday, and then sometimes I'll just, like, have a crazy killer session and just switch up my game to play versus regs. So, there's so many apps out there for you guys. If you just put in your app store poker analytics or poker, then there's several that come up. I've downloaded several, and I would just recommend like playing around with them and seeing which one fits your style the best. Because I started off with like 3, I think, and then quickly realized which ones I liked best or which ones served me the best, and went with that one.
Yeah, it's really good to, part of being, a good poker player is like self-analysis. And part of that is, knowing how long you can play, how often you can play, kind of when you start to mentally break down. Like, I try to play 10-hour sessions when I play. Because I know for me, like, I can be quite mentally alert through that time. After that, I kind of know that I start dropping down. I would love to play 12 hours. I feel like for me, I start, just really zoning out, and I'm not the best me there. So the idea is just, find whatever that range is for you and play that time. But when you're the table whipping boy for 10 hours, though, it's not fun. got the long shot going on. And I think Harlan's actually checking on all of his analytics. I think Harlan is the kind of guy that will use analytics to help out, you know, with that same thing. You know, because someone that's that into fitness, he's going to take that kind of like measurement,
strategy.
yeah, like, you know, to poker for sure. Hey, and look at us.
Oh my goodness. Well, hello, hello.
Yes, hello.
Does that mean what I think it means? No
I think
way.
it's-
We've got like a few more hands, I thought.
It's 9:54 no,
We
so I don't
usually
think
go
we're ready
into
to sign off
10.
yet.
But, yeah.
Well,
All right, well, just keep in mind, we do have a big tournament coming up here.
yes, the quantum.
The Quantum is coming up the 30th through the 6th, so you guys definitely want to be here for that. You can do $120 buy-ins. If you make it to day 2 on multiple 120 days, then you automatically get 900 and get to take your largest stack to day 2. You can also straight buy in to day 2 for $900 if you don't want to play in those beginning days, the day 1s. So exciting stuff coming up. I will be back in the booth on Friday as well as next Monday. We also will be streaming on Wednesday.
Yes, and I will be in the booth on Wednesday, and we're just gonna have a great time and maybe eat less food. I don't know.
Oh, who knows? Thanks for joining us. It's been fun. We'll see you next time.
Have a great night. Not bad.